Picture the morning mist rising from ancient forests. Sunlight filters through towering redwoods, casting shadows that dance across the forest floor. Rivers carve their way through mountains that have stood for millions of years. Oceans stretch endlessly toward horizons that seem to hold the very edge of existence itself. But beneath it all, something stirs in the darkness. Deep within the earth, past the reach of sunlight and surface winds, lies a world we have never seen. A realm that exists in perpetual twilight, where the rules of our surface existence may not apply, where the very foundation of everything we know becomes questionable. The ground beneath your feet right now holds secrets. Every step you take presses down upon layers of rock, soil, and mystery that extend thousands of miles into the planet's core. Scientists tell us what lies down there: molten rock, shifting plates, a metallic heart that generates our magnetic field. Yet for all our drilling and seismic mapping, we have barely scratched the surface of what Earth truly contains. Indigenous peoples around the world have whispered of it for millennia. Ancient texts describe it in riddles and metaphors. Modern explorers return from the deepest caves with stories that defy explanation. The whisper grows stronger with each passing generation, carried on winds that seem to emerge from the very stones themselves. What if the Earth is not the solid, predictable sphere we imagine? What if vast spaces exist within our planet, spaces large enough to harbor entire civilizations? What if, while we gaze upward at the stars searching for life, the greatest discovery in human history lies directly beneath us? The possibility haunts the edges of scientific discourse. Geologists map earthquake waves that bend in unexpected ways through the planet's interior. Cave explorers discover chambers so vast their boundaries disappear into absolute darkness. Ancient myths speak with startling consistency about underworld realms populated by beings of great wisdom and power. These are not merely the fantasies of primitive minds. They are echoes of something profound, something that challenges our most basic assumptions about the world we inhabit. The whisper beneath our feet grows stronger when we learn to listen. It speaks of civilizations that retreated from surface catastrophes, of technologies that harness the Earth's own energy, of beings who chose the eternal stability of the deep over the chaos of our ever-changing surface world. Tonight, as you lie in bed, remember that you rest atop a planet whose deepest secrets remain hidden. Miles below, in chambers that have never known daylight, something may be looking upward, just as we look toward the stars. The greatest journey of discovery may not require rockets or telescopes. It may only require the courage to descend into the darkness and follow the whisper that has called to humanity since the beginning of time. The question is no longer whether such a world could exist. The question is whether we are ready to discover what has been watching us from below. Centuries before satellites mapped our planet's surface, human imagination had already ventured far beneath it. The earliest civilizations spoke of underworlds with reverence and fear, describing vast realms that stretched beyond the reach of mortal understanding. In ancient Mesopotamia, the Epic of Gilgamesh told of a journey to the depths of the earth, where the hero sought immortality in chambers lit by strange fires. The Sumerians carved tablets depicting their gods emerging from beneath the ground, bringing knowledge and civilization to humanity. These were not abstract concepts to them. They were recorded history. Greek philosophers pondered the mystery with mathematical precision. Plato described Tartarus, a realm so deep within the earth that it formed an inverse world, complete with its own sky and celestial bodies. Aristotle calculated that a hollow sphere could theoretically exist within our planet, stable and self-contained. To them, the underworld was not merely a destination for the dead, it was a living, breathing reality parallel to their own. The Romans inherited these beliefs and expanded upon them. Virgil's Aeneid described descents into Earth's interior with geographical detail that suggested familiarity rather than fantasy. Roman engineers, master builders of the ancient world, spoke of discovering vast natural chambers during their construction projects. Some claim these spaces showed evidence of prior habitation. Medieval European texts preserved these ancient wisdoms, often disguising them as religious allegory. The Divine Comedy's elaborate mapping of hell as 9 circles read less like spiritual metaphor and more like a surveyor's report of an actual underground domain. Dante's precise measurements and architectural descriptions suggested knowledge of real subterranean structures. But it was during the Age of Enlightenment that Hollow Earth theory transformed from myth into scientific hypothesis. In 1692, astronomer Edmund Halley, discoverer of the famous comet, proposed that Earth consisted of nested spheres, each potentially habitable. His calculations were based on magnetic field variations that seemed to suggest multiple sources within the planet. Leonhard Euler, the brilliant Swiss mathematician, refined Halley's theory in 1736. He proposed that Earth's interior contained a sun roughly 600 miles in diameter, providing light and warmth to an inner civilization. Euler's mathematical proofs were so compelling that they influenced scientific thought for generations. The theories gained momentum when respected scientists began finding evidence that seemed to support them. Strange compass readings, unusual aurora activity, and reports of migrating animals that seemed to emerge from and disappear into the Earth itself all pointed toward hidden realms below the surface. By the late 18th century, Hollow Earth theory had captured the imagination of both scientists and adventurers. Maps were drawn showing potential entrances at the poles. Expeditions were planned to discover these gateways. The scientific community debated whether these underground realms might harbor civilizations more advanced than those on the surface. What began as ancient myth had evolved into serious scientific inquiry. The whispers of our ancestors had awakened a systematic search for truth. As explorers prepared to venture into the unknown depths, they carried with them thousands of years of human intuition, suggesting that Earth's greatest secrets lay not in the heavens above, but in the mysterious darkness below. The age of scientific exploration of inner Earth was about to begin. Across continents and centuries, separated by vast oceans and cultural barriers, ancient civilizations independently arrived at remarkably similar conclusions. They all spoke of gateways into the Earth's depths, passages that led to worlds of wonder and terror. In the windswept mountains of Tibet, monks preserved manuscripts describing hidden valleys where entrances to inner realms could be found. The sacred texts spoke of tunnels that descended beyond measurement, lit by crystalline formations that pulsed with their own inner light. Tibetan lamas claimed that certain caves in the Himalayas connected to vast underground networks stretching across Asia. Meanwhile, in the dense jungles of Central America, Mayan astronomers recorded star charts that included references to roads beneath the Earth. There, pyramid complexes often featured intricate cave systems that seemed to serve purposes beyond mere burial chambers. The Maya spoke of Xibalba, an underworld realm accessible through cenotes water-filled sinkholes that plunged into limestone darkness. Norse sagas described 9 worlds connected by roots and branches of the great tree Yggdrasil. Yet the most intriguing of these was Svartalfheim, the realm of the dark elves said to exist deep within the Earth itself. Viking explorers claimed to have found cave entrances in Greenland and Iceland that led to chambers where the very walls seemed to pulse with life. In ancient Greece, the oracle at Delphi sat above fissures in the earth from which mysterious vapors emerged. The Greeks believed these cracks provided direct communication with the underworld realm of Hades. Pilgrims traveled from across the Mediterranean to consult oracles who claimed to receive wisdom from beings dwelling far below the surface. The Aboriginal peoples of Australia spoke of the dream time, when ancestral beings emerged from beneath the earth to shape the landscape. They identified specific rock formations and cave systems as permanent gateways between the surface world and the eternal realm below. Their song lines and visible pathways across the land often led to cave entrances that were considered sacred portals. Hindu scriptures describe Patala, a magnificent underground realm populated by the Nagas, serpent beings of great wisdom and power. The Mahabharata contains detailed descriptions of journeys into Earth's interior, describing cities of gold illuminated by gems that required no external light source. These accounts read less like mythology and more like travel narratives from an underground civilization. Native American tribes across North America maintained oral traditions about emerging from underground worlds. The Hopi spoke of climbing through successive levels of Earth to reach the surface, describing vast cavern systems that housed their ancestors during times of surface catastrophe. Cherokee legends tell of warriors who descended into Nightland through caves in the Appalachian Mountains. Even in Africa, the Dogon people of Mali described underground cities connected by tunnels that stretched beneath the Sahara Desert. They claimed their astronomical knowledge came from beings who lived within the Earth and emerged periodically to share wisdom with surface dwellers. Archaeological evidence supports some of these ancient claims. Complex underground structures discovered worldwide often display construction techniques that seem advanced for their supposed time periods. The underground city of Derinkuyu in Turkey, capable of housing 20,000 people, represents just one example of sophisticated subterranean architecture. What emerges from this global pattern is not mere coincidence or shared symbolism. These ancient accounts describe similar features with remarkable consistency: vast chambers lit by unknown sources, advanced beings with superior knowledge, and tunnel networks connecting distant regions. The geographical locations they identify as entrances often correspond to areas of unusual geological activity or unexplained phenomena. As we examine these ancient pathways to the underworld, we must consider whether our ancestors were describing literal geographical features rather than symbolic spiritual concepts. Perhaps their maps were not metaphorical, but actual guides to a hidden world that exists parallel to our own. The evidence suggests that pathways to inner Earth may have been common knowledge in ancient times, carefully guarded secrets passed down through generations of initiated keepers. The 17th century marked a turning point in human understanding of our planet's structure. As telescopes revealed the movements of celestial bodies and microscopes unveiled hidden worlds in drops of water, scientists began to question fundamental assumptions about Earth itself. Sir Isaac Newton's laws of gravitation, while revolutionary, left room for intriguing possibilities within planetary structure. Newton calculated that a hollow sphere could theoretically maintain gravitational stability while housing vast interior spaces. His mathematical proofs suggested that beings living on the inner surface of such a hollow Earth would experience gravity pulling them toward that inner surface, creating an inverted world with its own sky and weather patterns. Building upon Newton's foundation, Edmund Halley presented his nested sphere theory to the Royal Society in 1692. Halley had observed that Earth's magnetic field varied in ways that suggested multiple magnetic sources within the planet. His solution was elegant Earth consisted of concentric hollow spheres, each rotating at different speeds and containing its own magnetic field. The outermost shell, roughly 500 miles thick, housed our surface civilization. Within it, two additional spheres, each the size of Mars and Venus respectively, rotated freely in space. Halley's theory explained several puzzling phenomena. Aurora displays often appeared at latitudes where they shouldn't exist according to conventional magnetic theory. Compass readings showed variations that suggested magnetic poles within the Earth were moving, or that multiple magnetic sources existed simultaneously. Most intriguingly, Halley noted that the atmosphere seemed to be escaping from Earth's polar regions, as if flowing into openings at the poles. The scientific community embraced these ideas with surprising enthusiasm. Leonhard Euler, perhaps the greatest mathematician of his era, refined Halley's calculations in 1736. Euler proposed that Earth's hollow interior contained a central sun approximately 600 miles in diameter. This inner sun would provide perpetual daylight to civilizations living on the interior surface, creating a world of eternal spring without seasons or weather extremes. Euler's mathematical models were so sophisticated that they influenced scientific thought for over a century. He calculated the thickness of Earth's shell, the gravitational effects within the hollow interior, and even the climate conditions that would prevail in such an environment. His work suggested that the inner world would be far more hospitable to life than the harsh surface conditions humanity endured. By the late 18th century, respected scientists across Europe were seriously investigating hollow Earth possibilities. The French Academy of Sciences commissioned studies of unusual gravitational anomalies. British naval officers reported compass variations in polar regions that seemed to support the theory of interior spaces. German naturalists documented migration patterns of animals that appeared to emerge from and disappear into the Earth itself. The theory gained additional credibility when Captain James Cook's voyages revealed that Antarctica was far larger than previously imagined. Cook's reports of warm currents flowing from the continent's interior, along with his observations of animal species that seemed to migrate beyond the mapped coastlines, suggested that unknown lands existed beyond the ice barriers. In America, academic institutions began incorporating hollow Earth theory into their curricula. Harvard and Yale offered courses examining the mathematical and philosophical implications of interior worlds. The theory aligned with religious beliefs about heaven and hell while maintaining scientific respectability through rigorous mathematical proofs. The evidence seemed overwhelming to 18th century minds. Mathematical calculations supported the possibility. Observational data suggested anomalies that hollow Earth theory could explain. Respected institutions endorsed further research. What had begun as speculation was evolving into accepted scientific theory. Yet even as the scientific establishment embraced these ideas, explorers were preparing expeditions that would test hollow Earth theory through direct observation. The age of theoretical speculation was giving way to an era of practical investigation. The question was no longer whether Earth could be hollow, but how to find the entrances that would prove it. The frozen wastelands at Earth's extremes have always harbored secrets that defy conventional understanding. As explorers pushed deeper into Arctic and Antarctic regions, they encountered phenomena that seemed to confirm the most extraordinary theories about our planet's hidden nature. Arctic expedition logs from the 19th century contain puzzling entries that challenge our understanding of polar geography. British naval officer Sir John Franklin, before his mysterious disappearance in 1847, reported observing warm winds emerging from the northern ice during his search for the Northwest Passage. His crew documented temperatures that rose dramatically as they traveled further north, contradicting the expected pattern of increasing cold toward the pole. Russian explorers venturing across the Siberian Arctic recorded similar anomalies. Admiral Ferdinand von Wrangel, mapping the northern coastlines in the 1820s, noted that migrating birds and animals appeared to fly north beyond the mapped territories, as if drawn to lands that didn't exist on any chart. His Siberian guides spoke of warm lands beyond the ice, places where their ancestors claimed to have hunted mammoth in temperate valleys. The mystery deepened when explorers began documenting the behavior of Arctic wildlife. Seals and polar bears were observed migrating north in spring, disappearing beyond the edge of mapped territory, only to return months later in robust health. Their behavior suggested the existence of feeding grounds and breeding areas in regions that should have been barren ice. Dr. Fridtjof Nansen, the renowned Norwegian explorer, encountered one of the most compelling pieces of evidence during his 1893 to 1896 Arctic expedition. Trapped in polar ice for nearly 2 years, Nansen meticulously recorded atmospheric and magnetic phenomena that seemed impossible according to conventional geography. He documented aurora displays that appeared to originate from beneath the ice rather than from space, and compass readings that became increasingly erratic the further north he traveled. Most significantly, Nansen's team collected driftwood in areas where no forests existed for hundreds of miles. The wood appeared fresh, as if recently carried by warm currents from unknown temperate regions. When examined later, some specimens contained species of tree not found anywhere in the mapped Arctic regions. Antarctic exploration revealed equally perplexing evidence. British Admiral James Clark Ross, discovering the Ross Ice Shelf in 1841, reported finding areas of open water where temperatures remained above freezing despite the polar latitude. His crew documented volcanic activity that seemed to emanate from vast chambers beneath the ice, suggesting that Antarctica's interior might be far more complex than its frozen surface indicated. The German Antarctic expedition of 1901 to 1903, led by Erich von Drygalski, made even more startling discoveries. Using early seismic equipment, Drygalski's team detected what they described as vast hollow spaces beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. Their measurements suggested chambers large enough to contain entire mountain ranges, spaces that seemed to extend far deeper into the Earth than conventional geology could explain. Perhaps most intriguingly, several expeditions reported encounters with animal species that shouldn't have existed in polar regions. Admiral Richard Byrd's 1926 flight over the North Pole included observations of land with mountains, forests, green vegetation, lakes and rivers in an area that maps showed as solid ice. Byrd's navigation instruments malfunctioned as his aircraft approached these regions, as if some form of magnetic interference was disrupting normal compass function. The evidence accumulated across decades of exploration painted a consistent picture. Both polar regions exhibited characteristics suggesting they were not solid landmasses or ice sheets, but rather areas where Earth's surface became permeable. Temperature anomalies, magnetic disturbances, unusual wildlife behavior, and direct visual observations all pointed toward the same conclusion. These polar mysteries gained additional significance when researchers realized that Earth's magnetic field lines converged at the poles in ways that could theoretically create natural openings in the planet's crust. The aurora borealis and aurora australis might not merely be atmospheric phenomena, but visible evidence of energy emanating from within Earth's interior. As the 20th century approached, the accumulating evidence from polar exploration had transformed hollow Earth theory from mathematical speculation into observational possibility. The ends of Earth, rather than being solid barriers, appeared to be gateways into something far more extraordinary than anyone had previously imagined. The stage was set for expeditions that would venture beyond conventional mapping into regions where the very nature of reality seemed to bend and shift like the aurora dancing across polar skies. The year was 1947, and the world was awakening to possibilities that seemed torn from science fiction. Atomic energy had reshaped warfare, rocket technology promised journeys to space, and in the frozen wastelands of Antarctica, Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd was about to undertake an expedition that would challenge everything humanity thought it knew about Earth itself. Operation High Jump officially began as a massive U.S. Navy training exercise in Antarctic conditions. 13 ships, 23 aircraft, and over 4,000 personnel descended upon the southern continent in what was publicly described as the largest Antarctic expedition in history. The official mission involved mapping Antarctica's coastline, testing equipment in extreme cold, and establishing American presence in the region. But beneath the official narrative, something far more extraordinary was unfolding. Admiral Byrd, already famous for his claimed flights over both poles, had been selected to lead reconnaissance missions into Antarctica's unexplored interior. His previous Arctic expeditions had produced reports that the Navy classified immediately upon his return. Naval intelligence had been quietly investigating Byrd's claims about discovering ice-free lands in polar regions, lands that appeared on no existing maps. On February 19, 1947, Byrd embarked on what would become the most controversial flight in exploration history. flying a twin-engine aircraft equipped with advanced navigation equipment. Byrd intended to survey the Antarctic interior beyond the Ross Ice Shelf. The flight plan called for a routine mapping mission over territories that satellite imagery had not yet revealed. What happened next exists in fragments of classified reports, leaked diary entries, and testimony that the U.S. government has neither confirmed nor denied for over 70 years. According to sources that emerged decades later, Byrd's aircraft encountered severe magnetic interference approximately 3 hours into the flight. Compass needles spun wildly, radio communication became sporadic, and navigation instruments began providing readings that seemed physically impossible. Despite these anomalies, Byrd ordered the flight to continue deeper into the Antarctic interior. The leaked diary entries, allegedly written in Byrd's own hand, describe a landscape that transformed gradually from ice and snow into temperate valleys filled with vegetation. The aircraft's altimeter indicated they were flying over sea-level terrain, yet the landscape below showed forests, rivers, and what appeared to be structured settlements. Temperature readings inside the aircraft began rising despite the polar latitude. Most extraordinarily, Byrd reportedly encountered aircraft of unknown design that approached his plane and guided it toward a landing area near what he described as a large city. The diary entries claim that Byrd and his crew were greeted by tall, blonde beings who spoke perfect English and demonstrated technology far in advance of 1947 surface civilization. These beings allegedly identified themselves as inhabitants of Earth's interior, descendants of civilizations that had retreated underground during past surface catastrophes. They claimed to have been monitoring surface humanity's progress with growing concern, particularly regarding the recent development of atomic weapons. The beings reportedly expressed worry that surface humanity was following a path towards self-destruction. During what Byrd described as several hours spent in this underground civilization, he was allegedly shown vast cities powered by energy sources he couldn't comprehend, transportation systems that moved without visible means of propulsion, and agricultural areas that produced abundant crops under artificial suns. The beings claimed their civilization had existed for thousands of years, maintaining advanced technology while surface humanity struggled through cycles of progress and destruction. When Byrd was finally returned to his aircraft, he was allegedly given a message to deliver to surface governments, warning them about the dangers of nuclear weapons and offering assistance in developing peaceful technologies. The beings claimed they would reveal themselves openly when surface humanity demonstrated wisdom enough to avoid self-annihilation. Upon returning to base, Byrd's report was immediately classified at the highest levels. He was allegedly debriefed by military intelligence for several weeks and sworn to secrecy about his discoveries. Operation High Jump was terminated earlier than scheduled, with official explanations citing equipment failures and adverse weather conditions. The U.S. government's response to Byrd's expedition remained classified for decades. What is known is that Antarctic exploration programs were dramatically reduced in the following years, and international treaties were established limiting military activities in Antarctica. Whether these measures were intended to protect strategic interests or to prevent further contact with inner-Earth civilizations remains a matter of intense speculation. Admiral Byrd himself provided few public statements about his Antarctic experiences, beyond cryptic references to lands beyond the poles and discoveries that could revolutionize human understanding. He died in 1957, taking whatever secrets he possessed to his grave. The truth of Admiral Byrd's 1947 expedition may never be fully known, buried beneath layers of classification and official denial. Yet the questions it raises continue to resonate through decades of speculation and investigation into Earth's hidden realms. Deep within the ancient texts of Tibet and India, preserved in monasteries that have stood for over 1,000 years, lie descriptions of underground kingdoms that challenge our understanding of human civilization. These are not mere legends or spiritual metaphors, but detailed accounts of actual places, complete with geographical descriptions, political structures, and technological capabilities that surpass surface civilizations. Agartha, known as the Underground Kingdom, was first described in detail by French occultist Alexandre Saint-Yves Galvader in the 1880s. Yet Saint-Yves claimed he was merely transcribing information provided by mysterious teachers from the East, masters who possessed knowledge of this hidden realm. According to these sources, Agartha consisted of a vast network of underground cities connected by tunnels that spanned the globe, with its capital located somewhere beneath the Himalayas. The kingdom was allegedly ruled by the king of the world, a being of immense wisdom who governed not through force but through spiritual authority recognized by all Earth's hidden peoples. This ruler was said to possess knowledge of past and future events, understanding the cycles of surface civilizations and guiding humanity's development from the shadows. Tibetan Buddhist texts describe Shambhala, often confused with Agartha, but representing a distinct realm. While Agartha was described as purely underground, Shambhala was said to exist in a hidden valley, concealed from surface view through advanced spiritual and technological means. The valley was surrounded by snow-peaked mountains, accessible only to those pure of heart and purpose. The Kalachakra Tantra, one of Buddhism's most sacred texts, provides detailed descriptions of Shambhala's geography and inhabitants. The kingdom was allegedly ruled by successive Kalki kings, each possessing supernatural wisdom and longevity. These rulers maintained libraries containing all human knowledge, including sciences and technologies lost to surface civilizations during periods of chaos and destruction. Russian explorer Nicholas Roerich, during his 1920s expeditions through Central Asia, collected numerous accounts from Tibetan monks about both Agartha and Shambhala. The monks spoke of tunnel systems beneath major monasteries that connected to the underground kingdom. They claimed that certain advanced lamas could travel to Agartha in physical form, while others communicated with its inhabitants through meditation and astral projection. The descriptions provided by these sources revealed civilizations far more advanced than surface humanity in 1920. Agartha was said to possess transportation systems that moved through the earth without mechanical propulsion, communication networks that operated through crystalline technology, and energy sources that provided unlimited power without environmental destruction. The inhabitants allegedly lived for hundreds of years, maintaining youthful appearance through mastery of natural forces. Soviet expeditions in the 1920s and 1930s, partly inspired by these legends, searched Central Asian mountain ranges for entrances to these hidden realms. Stalin's government secretly funded explorations into remote Siberian cave systems, seeking advanced technologies that could provide military advantages. While official records remain classified, leaked documents suggest that unusual discoveries were made in underground facilities beneath the Altai Mountains. The Nazi regime's obsession with occult knowledge led to their own investigations into Agartha and Shambhala. The Ahnenerbe, Hitler's research organization, sponsored expeditions to Tibet seeking contact with these underground civilizations. Nazi theorists believed that Aryan races had originated in these hidden kingdoms, and that alliances with them could provide superweapons for world domination. Contemporary Tibetan sources continue to maintain that these underground realms exist and remain active. The Dalai Lama himself has made cryptic references to hidden lands that will reveal themselves when humanity faces its greatest challenges. Tibetan refugees fleeing Chinese occupation in the 1950s reported seeing aircraft emerging from mountain caves, vehicles that moved silently and displayed no visible means of propulsion. Archaeological discoveries in the Himalayas have uncovered cave systems and underground chambers that seem to support aspects of the ancient accounts. Complex tunnel networks beneath major monasteries show evidence of construction techniques that exceed the capabilities of their supposed time periods. Some chambers contain crystalline formations that emit weak electromagnetic fields, suggesting possible technological applications. Modern satellite imagery of Central Asia reveals geographical anomalies that correspond to ancient descriptions of hidden valley locations. Certain areas show unusual heat signatures, vegetation patterns that suggest artificial irrigation, and electromagnetic disturbances that interfere with standard mapping equipment. These regions often coincide with areas that local populations consider sacred and forbidden to outsiders. The consistency of these accounts across cultures and centuries suggests something more than mere mythology. Whether Agartha and Shambhala represent actual underground civilizations, hidden valleys protected by advanced technology, or interdimensional realms accessible through specific geographical locations, they continue to influence human understanding of Earth's hidden possibilities. The ancient promise remains that these kingdoms will reveal themselves when surface humanity demonstrates wisdom sufficient to join the greater community of Earth as civilizations. Until then, they remain hidden, watching and waiting in the depths of our planet's most sacred places. Across the vast expanse of North America, from the Arctic tundra to the desert Southwest, indigenous peoples preserved oral traditions that spoke with remarkable consistency about humanity's origins. Beneath the earth, these were not abstract creation myths, but detailed historical accounts of ancestors who lived in underground worlds before emerging to populate the surface. The Hopi people of Arizona maintain perhaps the most complete record of underground civilizations. According to their traditions, humanity has lived through 4 successive worlds, with the current surface world representing the 4th world. The previous 3 worlds existed underground, in vast cavern systems that stretched beneath the North American continent. The Hopi describe ascending through these levels during times when each world was destroyed by war, natural disaster, or moral corruption. Their emergence stories include specific geographical references. The Hopi identify the Grand Canyon, Sipapu, as one of the primary entrances through which their ancestors emerged from the 3rd world into the current 4th world. They describe the 3rd world as a place of great cities and advanced technologies, where people could travel vast distances through underground tunnels and communicate across continents using crystalline devices. Cherokee traditions tell of Nightland, an underground realm where their ancestors lived during the time of eternal winter on the surface. Cherokee shamans maintained that certain caves in the Appalachian Mountains provided access to Nightland, where communities still existed in vast chambers heated by underground fires. Warriors who descended into these caves sometimes returned with knowledge of metallurgy and agriculture that advanced Cherokee civilization. The Lakota and other Plains tribes spoke of emergence from underground worlds through caves in the Black Hills. Their sacred sites often correspond to cave openings that penetrate deep into the earth. Lakota holy men claimed they could still communicate with ancestors who chose to remain in the underground realms rather than emerge to the surface world. Pueblo peoples throughout the Southwest maintain detailed traditions about underground cities where their ancestors lived during periods of surface catastrophe. The Acoma describe vast chambers beneath Mesa Verde, where entire populations took refuge during times of drought and warfare. These underground refuges allegedly contained sophisticated water management systems and agricultural areas that sustained thousands of people for generations. Inuit peoples of the Arctic regions told of Adlivan, an underworld realm accessible through holes in the sea ice. Unlike the cold underground worlds described by other cultures, Adlivan was said to be warm and populated by beings who possessed advanced knowledge of hunting and survival. Inuit shamans claimed to travel to Adlivan in spirit form, bringing back information about weather patterns and animal migrations. The consistency of these traditions becomes even more remarkable when examined alongside archaeological evidence. Many Native American sacred sites are located at cave entrances or geological formations that provide access to underground chambers. Ancient petroglyphs near these sites often depict scenes of people emerging from or descending into the earth, suggesting that these stories were considered historical rather than mythological. Anasazi ruins throughout the Southwest show evidence of sophisticated understanding of underground water systems and natural cave formations. Many Anasazi settlements were built directly above or adjacent to cave systems that extend far into the earth. Some researchers suggest that the mysterious disappearance of Anasazi populations might be explained by their return to underground realms rather than by surface migration or catastrophe. Modern Native American leaders continue to maintain the historical accuracy of these emergence traditions. Hopi prophecies speak of a time when underground peoples will again emerge to help surface humanity through a period of great change and purification. These prophecies describe the underground civilizations as having preserved ancient knowledge and technologies that will be necessary for humanity as survival. Contemporary accounts from Native American communities include reports of encounters with underground peoples in cave systems throughout North America. These beings are often described as appearing similar to surface Native Americans, but possessing advanced knowledge of natural sciences and sustainable technologies. Some accounts describe underground cities that still exist beneath traditional tribal territories. The Hopi in particular maintain that their underground ancestors never completely severed contact with surface populations. Certain ceremonies and rituals are said to facilitate communication with these underground civilizations. Hopi elders claim that guidance from inner earth peoples has helped their tribe maintain sustainable agricultural practices and social structures for over 1,000 years. Archaeological investigations of cave systems beneath Native American sacred sites have revealed complex structures that seem to exceed the engineering capabilities of their supposed time periods. Some chambers show evidence of sophisticated ventilation systems, water management, and construction techniques that suggest advanced technological knowledge. These Native American accounts provide perhaps the most detailed and consistent descriptions of underground civilizations available from any cultural source. Their emphasis on historical continuity, specific geographical locations, and ongoing contact with inner earth peoples suggests that these traditions may preserve actual memories of humanity as underground origins rather than symbolic spiritual teachings. The possibility that Native American tribes maintain ancestral connections to currently existing underground civilizations adds a profound dimension to contemporary discussions about Earth as hidden inhabitants. As Adolf Hitler's regime consolidated power in 1930s Germany, an extraordinary fascination with occult sciences and ancient mysteries began to influence Nazi ideology and military strategy. Among the most significant of these obsessions was the belief that advanced civilizations existed within the Earth itself, civilizations that could provide the Third Reich with supernatural weapons and ultimate victory. Heinrich Himmler, architect of the SS and one of Nazi Germany's most powerful figures, established the Ahnenerbe in 1935. This research organization, officially known as the Ancestral Heritage Research and Teaching Society, received unlimited funding to investigate what Himmler termed the spiritual and intellectual history of the Aryan race. In practice, the Ahnenerbe became Nazi Germany's primary vehicle for exploring Hollow Earth theories and searching for entrances to underground civilizations. The Nazi fascination with inner Earth stemmed from their adoption of Hans Herbiger's world ice theory and Karl Haushofer as geopolitical mysticism. These theories proposed that Aryan peoples had originated in a hollow Earth paradise called Thule, from which they had emerged to establish surface civilizations. Nazi ideologists believed that reconnecting with these underground Aryan ancestors would provide access to advanced technologies and spiritual powers necessary for world domination. Hermann Rauschning, a high-ranking Nazi official who later defected, reported conversations in which Hitler spoke obsessively about establishing contact with the Superman who lives inside the Earth. Hitler allegedly believed that these underground beings possessed technologies that could revolutionize warfare and that alliances with them would guarantee Nazi victory over surface civilizations. The Ahnenerbe's most ambitious project involved expeditions to Tibet, and Antarctica, regions that Nazi occultists identified as potential gateways to inner Earth realms. In 1938, an SS expedition led by zoologist Ernst Schaefer traveled to Tibet under the cover of scientific research. The expedition's true purpose involved locating entrance points to Agartha and Shambhala, the legendary underground kingdoms described in Tibetan texts. Schaefer's team conducted extensive explorations of Tibetan cave systems and established contact with high-ranking lamas who possessed knowledge of underground realms. SS documentation from this expedition, partially released after the war, describes discoveries of tunnel systems that extended far deeper into the earth than natural cave formation could explain. The expedition returned to Germany with Tibetan monks who allegedly provided guidance for further Hollow Earth investigations. Simultaneously, Nazi expeditions to Antarctica searched for the entrance to inner Earth that Admiral Byrd had reportedly discovered during his polar flights. The 1938-1939 German Antarctic expedition, officially led by Alfred Richer, established New Swabia, a territorial claim in Antarctica that included extensive underground installations. Soviet intelligence documents released after the Cold War suggest that these installations were intended to serve as bases for contact with Hollow Earth civilizations. The Nazi Antarctic operations involved sophisticated equipment for underground exploration, including early versions of ground-penetrating radar and seismic detection devices. German engineers constructed drilling equipment capable of penetrating deeper into polar ice than any previous technology. Some accounts suggest that Nazi expeditions succeeded in accessing vast underground chambers beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. Rudolf Hess, Hitler's deputy and devoted occultist, allegedly flew to Scotland in 1941 not merely to negotiate peace with Britain, but to share intelligence about Hollow Earth discoveries with British occult societies. Hess believed that revealing the existence of underground civilizations would unite surface nations against a common threat and establish Nazi Germany as the primary liaison with inner Earth powers. The Nazi obsession with Hollow Earth theory influenced military technology development throughout the war. German scientists working on advanced propulsion systems claimed inspiration from descriptions of inner Earth flying vehicles. The development of disc-shaped aircraft prototypes may have been influenced by accounts of underground civilizations, transportation technologies. Victor Schauberger, an Austrian inventor working for the Nazi war effort, developed flying disc prototypes based on what he claimed were principles learned from inner Earth technical specifications. Schauberger alleged that underground civilizations had provided technical guidance for his experimental aircraft designs. Although these prototypes never achieved operational status, they demonstrated propulsion principles that conventional science of the era considered impossible. As Allied forces closed in on Nazi Germany, Hitler and his inner circle allegedly made preparations for retreat to underground installations in Antarctica and South America. Some historians suggest that these preparations were based on actual contact with Hollow Earth civilizations that had promised sanctuary to Nazi leaders in exchange for surface intelligence and technological cooperation. The end of World War II did not terminate Nazi interest in Hollow Earth theories. Operation Paperclip brought German scientists to America, including researchers who had worked on Ahnenerbe projects. Classified U.S. government documents suggest that some of these scientists continued Hollow Earth investigations under American sponsorship during the early Cold War period. The Nazi legacy in Hollow Earth exploration remains largely classified, with both American and Russian governments maintaining secrecy about German discoveries made during the war. The possibility that Nazi expeditions actually established contact with underground civilizations continues to influence contemporary Hollow Earth research and government policies regarding Antarctica and polar exploration. Beneath the rolling hills of Kentucky lies the world's longest known cave system, a labyrinthine network that has yielded over 400 miles of mapped passages. Yet for all the scientific exploration and tourist visits, Mammoth Cave continues to harbor mysteries that defy conventional understanding of natural cave formation and human history. The cave's earliest known inhabitants left behind artifacts that archaeologists struggle to explain. In 1935, guides discovered the perfectly preserved remains of a Native American, later named Lost John, buried beneath a 6-ton limestone boulder in a passage that required technical climbing to access. The body showed evidence of sophisticated mummification techniques, and nearby artifacts included textiles and tools that displayed craftsmanship exceeding known capabilities of regional tribes. More puzzling discoveries followed. In remote passages far from any known entrance, explorers found evidence of extensive mining operations. Ancient gypsum mining sites showed tool marks, suggesting the use of implements more advanced than Stone Age technology. The mining areas were accessed through passages so complex that modern spelunkers require detailed maps and specialized equipment to navigate them safely. Floyd Collins, the famous cave explorer who died trapped in Sand Cave in 1925, had spent years mapping previously unknown sections of the Mammoth Cave system. Before his death, Collins reported discovering chambers that contained what he described as artificial structures and evidence of habitation by peoples unknown to surface history. His detailed notes, preserved by the National Park Service, describe stone constructions that appeared deliberately engineered rather than naturally formed. During the Civil War, Confederate forces used Mammoth Cave for saltpeter mining to produce gunpowder. Workers in the deepest mining areas reported encountering passages that seemed to extend indefinitely into the earth. Some miners claimed to have heard sounds of machinery and human activity emanating from unmapped sections of the cave system. These reports were dismissed as hallucinations caused by poor ventilation and isolation. In 1972, cave researcher Patricia Crowther led an expedition into previously unexplored passages using newly developed surveying techniques. Her team discovered a vast chamber they named Frozen Niagara, which contained formations that seemed to defy the known geology of the region. Most significantly, they found evidence of artificial modification to natural cave passages, including what appeared to be ancient ventilation shafts and water management systems. The cave's connection to underground railroad operations during the 1800s added another layer of mystery. Escaped slaves following the route through Mammoth Cave reported encounters with cave dwellers who provided assistance and guidance through the underground passages. These beings were described as pale-skinned peoples who possessed intimate knowledge of the cave system as hidden routes and safe passages. Stephen Bishop, a slave who became one of the cave's most knowledgeable guides in the mid-1800s, claimed to have discovered passages that connected Mammoth Cave to other cave systems across Kentucky and Tennessee. Bishop's maps, considered remarkably accurate by modern standards, showed tunnel networks extending far beyond the currently known boundaries of the cave system. His detailed knowledge of remote passages has never been fully explained by historians. Modern speleological investigations have revealed that Mammoth Cave connects to a much larger underground network than previously suspected. Ground-penetrating radar and seismic surveys indicate vast unmapped chambers and passages that extend deeper into the earth than current exploration has reached. Some of these chambers appear to be of artificial construction, showing evidence of deliberate excavation and architectural planning. The cave's unusual electromagnetic properties have attracted scientific attention in recent decades. Sensitive instruments detect magnetic anomalies in certain passages, and radio communication equipment often malfunctions in specific areas of the cave system. These phenomena suggest the presence of unknown electromagnetic sources within the cave's deeper reaches. Contemporary cave explorers continue to report anomalous encounters in Mammoth Cave's remote passages. These include sightings of artificial lights in unmapped areas, sounds of machinery in sections supposedly uninhabited, and encounters with individuals who demonstrate knowledge of cave passages unknown to official mapping efforts. Park Service officials generally attribute such reports to disorientation and hallucination common in underground environments. The National Park Service maintains restricted access to many sections of Mammoth Cave, officially for safety and conservation reasons. However, some researchers suggest that these restrictions may be intended to prevent public discovery of anomalous features that could challenge conventional understanding of the cave's history and formation. Mammoth Cave represents just one example of underground mysteries hidden beneath America's landscape, a tantalizing glimpse into the possibility that vast unknown civilizations may exist in the depths beneath our feet. Science has revealed that Earth's underground realm teems with life in ways that would have seemed impossible just decades ago. As researchers venture deeper into cave systems, underground rivers, and subterranean rock formations, they discover ecosystems so complex and sophisticated that they challenge our understanding of life's boundaries and possibilities. The deepest known ecosystem exists nearly 2 miles beneath Earth's surface in South Africa's gold mines. Here, in perpetual darkness where temperatures exceed 140 degrees Fahrenheit and pressure could crush surface life instantly, scientists have discovered thriving communities of bacteria that derive energy not from sunlight, but from radioactive decay of surrounding rocks. These organisms have existed in isolation for millions of years, evolving into life forms unlike anything found on the surface. Muvile Cave in Romania, sealed from the outside world for over 5 million years, contains an ecosystem that operates on principles fundamentally different from surface biology. The cave's atmosphere contains half the oxygen of surface air, yet supports 48 species found nowhere else on Earth. These creatures survive in total darkness using chemosynthesis, deriving energy from hydrogen sulfide and ammonia rather than photosynthesis. The organisms in Muvile Cave display characteristics that seem almost extraterrestrial. Spiders have developed enhanced sensory capabilities to hunt in absolute darkness. Aquatic worms have evolved specialized organs for processing toxic chemicals. Most remarkably, the entire ecosystem maintains perfect balance despite being completely cut off from solar energy that powers all known surface life. Lixuquila Cave in New Mexico extends over 140 miles through limestone formations, containing chambers so vast that they house their own weather systems. The cave's deepest sections harbor bacterial communities that feed on sulfur compounds, creating formations that appear almost crystalline in structure. Some researchers suggest that these bacterial colonies demonstrate collective intelligence, responding to environmental changes in coordinated ways that suggest communication between individual organisms. The cave's unique mineral formations result from bacterial action that processes rock into previously unknown compounds. Some formations emit weak electromagnetic fields, suggesting that the bacterial communities may utilize electrical properties for energy production or communication. The implications of such discoveries extend far beyond conventional biology into possibilities of alternative energy systems and communication technologies. Krubera Cave in Georgia, currently the world's deepest known cave system at over 7,200 feet, contains multiple distinct ecosystems at different levels. As researchers descended through successive chambers, they discovered that life forms became increasingly exotic at greater depths. The deepest accessible levels contain organisms that appear to derive energy from geothermal sources and cave formations that seem to result from biological rather than purely geological processes. Underground rivers beneath major continents support ecosystems that may be larger and more complex than any surface biological systems. The Edwards Aquifer beneath Texas contains dozens of species of blind fish, salamanders, and arthropods that have evolved specialized adaptations for underground life. Some species demonstrate problem-solving abilities and social behaviors that exceed those of their surface relatives. Recent discoveries in underwater cave systems reveal the most extraordinary underground ecosystems yet documented. The Yucatan Peninsula's cenote caves contain vast networks of underwater passages that support complex food webs based entirely on chemosynthetic bacteria. These ecosystems include fish species that have developed echolocation abilities similar to dolphins, and arthropods that display bioluminescent communication systems. The most intriguing discoveries involve evidence of cooperative behavior between different species in underground ecosystems. In some cave systems, researchers have documented symbiotic relationships so sophisticated that different species appear to coordinate their activities for mutual benefit. Some bacterial colonies seem to cultivate other organisms for purposes that exceed simple predator-prey relationships. Deep ocean floor discoveries have revealed underground ecosystems that extend beneath oceanic crust into Earth's mantle itself. Hydrothermal vent communities support life forms that tolerate temperatures and pressures previously thought impossible for biological systems. Some of these deep-sea organisms display characteristics suggesting they may represent evolutionary links to much older life forms that originated in Earth's interior. The metabolic processes of these underground organisms often involve chemical reactions that produce unusual byproducts, including compounds that could serve as energy sources for more complex life forms. Some researchers speculate that these natural biochemical processes could support much larger organisms and even technological civilizations that harness underground biological resources. Perhaps most significantly, genetic analysis of deep underground organisms reveals that many species are far older than surface life forms, suggesting that life may have originated in Earth's interior rather than on its surface. These findings support theories that underground environments may provide more stable conditions for evolutionary development than surface environments, subject to climatic catastrophes and cosmic radiation. The discovery of these sophisticated underground ecosystems demonstrates that Earth's interior provides not only the space for advanced civilizations, but also the biological foundations that could support such civilizations for millions of years in isolation from surface conditions. Modern geology describes Earth as a layered sphere, a thin crust floating on a molten mantle, surrounding a liquid outer core and solid inner core of metallic iron and nickel. Yet this simplified model, based primarily on seismic wave analysis, leaves vast questions unanswered and room for possibilities that challenge conventional understanding of our planet's internal structure. Seismic tomography, the science of mapping Earth's interior using earthquake waves, has revealed anomalies that don't fit standard geological models. Large low shear velocity provinces, LLSVPs, massive structures deep within the mantle, display characteristics that suggest they may be hollow or contain materials fundamentally different from surrounding rock. These anomalies, some larger than continents, deflect seismic waves in patterns that conventional geology struggles to explain. The discovery of post-perovskite mineral phases at depths exceeding 2,500 kilometers has revolutionized understanding of deep Earth chemistry. These minerals, stable only under extreme pressure, form crystalline structures with properties that could theoretically create vast cavities within solid rock. Some researchers suggest that post-perovskite formations might naturally form hollow chambers large enough to house entire civilizations. Earth's magnetic field provides additional evidence of internal complexity beyond simple models. The magnetic field's strength and direction vary dramatically across the planet's surface, suggesting multiple magnetic sources within Earth's interior. Standard theory attributes this to circulation patterns in the liquid outer core, yet some variations are so extreme they seem to require discrete magnetic sources located at specific depths and locations. The phenomenon of magnetic reversals, where Earth's magnetic field periodically flips polarity, occurs according to no predictable pattern. Some reversals happen within decades, while stable periods last millions of years. This irregular behavior suggests that Earth's internal magnetic system involves more complex dynamics than simple core circulation models can explain. Gravitational anomalies detected by satellite measurements reveal density variations within Earth that do and correspond to predicted geological structures. Some regions show gravitational fields suggesting the presence of large voids or chambers within supposedly solid rock. The Antarctic continent displays particularly significant gravitational anomalies that seem to indicate vast hollow spaces beneath the ice sheet. The Mohorovicic discontinuity, the boundary between Earth's crust and mantle, varies dramatically in depth and characteristics around the planet. In some oceanic regions, the moho lies just 6 kilometers below the surface, while beneath major continents, it extends over 70 kilometers deep. These variations suggest that Earth's internal structure may be far more complex and irregular than standard geological models predict. Deep drilling projects have provided direct evidence of Earth's internal complexity. The Soviet Kola superdeep borehole, which reached a depth of over 12 kilometers, encountered unexpected phenomena, including temperatures far higher than predicted, unusual mineral compositions, and microscopic life forms that shouldn't exist at such depths. Most significantly, drilling equipment detected what researchers described as pockets of water at depths where conventional theory predicts only solid rock should exist. The presence of water at depths exceeding 10 kilometers challenges fundamental assumptions about Earth's interior. If water can exist in liquid form at such depths, it suggests that temperature and pressure conditions in Earth's interior may be far more variable than standard models predict. Variable conditions could theoretically allow for large hollow spaces containing atmospheres suitable for life. Mantle plumes, columns of hot material rising from deep within Earth, display characteristics that suggest they originate from discrete sources rather than random convection patterns. Some plumes appear to emerge from specific depths corresponding to the core mantle boundary, suggesting the presence of structured features at that level. The regular spacing and consistent behavior of major mantle plumes implies systematic organization within Earth's deep interior. Recent discoveries of diamonds containing mineral inclusions from depths exceeding 660 kilometers have revealed that Earth's transition zone contains far more water than previously suspected. These superdeep diamonds preserve samples of material from regions where water shouldn't exist according to conventional models, suggesting that large volumes of water may be stored in crystalline structures throughout Earth's interior. The existence of extensive water reserves within Earth's deep interior has profound implications for the possibility of underground civilizations. If water exists at depths previously thought impossible, it suggests that habitable environments may exist throughout Earth's interior rather than only in shallow cave systems. Quantum mechanical analysis of mineral behavior under extreme pressure suggests that familiar materials may behave in completely unexpected ways within Earth's interior. Some calculations indicate that silicon and carbon compounds could form stable hollow structures under mantle pressures, creating natural chambers within otherwise solid rock. These discoveries combine to suggest that Earth's interior may contain vast hollow spaces, stable water reserves, variable temperature zones, and complex electromagnetic phenomena that could theoretically support advanced civilizations. Rather than being a simple layered sphere, Earth may be a complex structure containing multiple environments suitable for life. In the Cappadocia region of central Turkey, beneath the unassuming town of Derinkuyu, lies one of archaeology's most perplexing discoveries. When a local resident renovated his basement in 1963, knocking down a wall revealed not another room, but a tunnel leading into darkness that seemed to extend beyond measurement. What emerged from subsequent exploration defied every assumption about ancient engineering capabilities. Derinkuyu underground city descended 18 levels into the earth, containing over 600 entrances, miles of tunnels, and chambers capable of housing 20,000 people, along with their livestock and supplies. The construction demonstrated sophistication. It challenged understanding of ancient technology and social organization. The city's ventilation system represents perhaps its most remarkable feature. Over 15,000 ventilation shafts, some extending over 60 meters deep, provided fresh air circulation throughout the complex. The engineering required to calculate airflow through such an extensive network exceeded the supposed mathematical knowledge of any civilization in the region during the city's estimated construction period. Carbon dating suggests Deringue was built during the 8th–7th centuries BCE, yet the construction techniques employed demonstrate knowledge of structural engineering that wouldn't be rediscovered in Europe for over 1,000 years. The builders understood load-bearing principles, hydraulic systems, and large-scale excavation methods that conventional archaeology cannot adequately explain. The city's defensive features indicate that its builders faced threats requiring sophisticated military preparation. Massive stone doors, each weighing over 1,000 pounds, could seal off sections of the city from internal attack. The doors could only be operated from inside, suggesting that Deringue was designed as a refuge from surface dangers rather than as an ordinary underground settlement. Most intriguingly, Deringue connected to other underground cities throughout Cappadocia through tunnel networks that spanned dozens of miles. These connections allowed populations to travel between underground cities without surfacing, suggesting a regional underground civilization that operated parallel to surface communities. The purpose of Deringue remains officially mysterious. Standard archaeological explanations suggest it served as a refuge during Arab raids or religious persecution, yet the scale and sophistication of construction seem excessive for temporary shelter. The city contained facilities for long-term habitation, including wineries, storage chambers, stables, chapels, and even schools. Local legends preserved by modern residents of Deringue tell different stories about the city's origins and purpose. Elderly villagers speak of their ancestors, describing the underground city as much older than official estimates, possibly dating to periods before recorded history. Some accounts suggest that Deringue was built by peoples who lived permanently underground rather than as temporary refugees from surface dangers. The most enigmatic features of Deringue involve chambers and passages that seem to extend far deeper than the 18 officially excavated levels. Turkish authorities have sealed access to lower levels, officially citing safety concerns about unstable rock formations. However, some researchers suggest that these restrictions may be intended to prevent discovery of features that would challenge conventional understanding of the site's age and purpose. Ground-penetrating radar surveys conducted in the 1990s detected additional chambers and passages beneath the currently accessible levels. These surveys suggested that Deringue may extend twice as deep as currently known, with lower levels showing evidence of different construction techniques and possibly different construction periods. The discovery of similar underground cities throughout Cappadocia suggests that Deringue was part of a much larger underground civilization. Kemakli Uzkonak and dozens of other underground cities in the region show similar construction techniques and defensive features. The total underground population capacity of Cappadocia's known cities exceeds 100,000 people. Archaeological evidence indicates that these underground cities were inhabited continuously for over 1,000 years, suggesting permanent underground populations rather than temporary refuge use. The cities contained facilities for manufacturing, agriculture, and social organization that would be necessary for multi-generational underground civilizations. The sophisticated hydraulic engineering demonstrated in Deringue included systems for collecting and distributing groundwater, waste management, and flood control. These systems operated effectively for centuries without maintenance techniques that would be available to medieval civilizations, suggesting advanced engineering knowledge among the builders. Perhaps most significantly, Deringue demonstrates that large-scale underground civilizations are not only possible, but have actually existed in recorded history. The city proves that thousands of people can live permanently underground using technologies that, while sophisticated, could theoretically be developed by any sufficiently motivated civilization. The Ring-Q stands as tangible evidence that human beings have successfully created underground civilizations capable of supporting large populations for extended periods. It represents not fantasy or speculation, but historical proof that Earth's interior can house advanced human societies. What if human civilization is far older than we have been taught to believe? What if, before the rise of Sumer in Egypt, before the construction of Stonehenge and the pyramids, an advanced civilization flourished beneath the Earth's surface, developing technologies and wisdom that surpassed anything achieved by surface humanity? This possibility emerges from accumulating evidence that suggests human development followed a far more complex pattern than conventional archaeology describes. Standard historical timelines place the emergence of civilization around 6,000 years ago in Mesopotamia. Yet anomalous artifacts and archaeological discoveries worldwide suggest that sophisticated human societies existed tens of thousands of years earlier. The Younger Dryas period, approximately 12,000 years ago, represents a crucial turning point in Earth's climatic history. Global temperatures dropped dramatically within decades, ice sheets expanded rapidly, and sea levels fell by hundreds of feet. Conventional science attributes this period to asteroid impacts or volcanic activity. Yet the speed and severity of climatic change suggests catastrophic events that would have devastated surface civilizations. Ancient flood myths preserved by cultures worldwide describe this period with remarkable consistency. From the biblical account of Noah to the Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh, from Hindu Puranic texts to Native American oral traditions, human societies remember a time when the surface world was destroyed by water and ice. These accounts often describe survivors who preserved civilization by retreating into caves, underground chambers, or hollow mountains. Archaeological evidence supports the possibility that advanced civilizations existed before the Younger Dryas catastrophe. Megalithic structures like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, constructed over 11,000 years ago, demonstrate astronomical knowledge and construction capabilities that exceed those of supposedly more advanced later civilizations. The site's deliberate burial suggests that its builders anticipated and prepared for coming catastrophic events. The precision of megalithic construction worldwide suggests shared knowledge and technologies that could only have been developed by civilizations far more sophisticated in hunting and gathering societies. The mathematical relationships encoded in stone circles, the astronomical alignments of ancient structures, and the megalithic engineering techniques demonstrate scientific understanding that would require generations of systematic research and development. Genetic evidence adds another dimension to the super-civilization theory. Modern human DNA contains sequences that suggest our ancestors survived to severe population bottlenecks during the Younger Dryas period. These bottlenecks indicate that human populations crashed to perhaps as few as 10,000 individuals worldwide. Yet the rapid recovery and sudden emergence of agricultural civilizations suggest that survivors possessed advanced knowledge and technologies. The theory proposes that pre-catastrophe civilizations, recognizing approaching climatic disasters, constructed vast underground refuges where selected populations could survive surface devastation. These underground civilizations would have preserved not only human populations, but also libraries, technologies, and scientific knowledge that enabled rapid reconstruction of surface civilizations after conditions stabilized. Evidence for this underground preservation appears in the sudden emergence of fully developed technologies in early historical civilizations. Agriculture, metallurgy, astronomy, mathematics, and written language appeared simultaneously across multiple continents without apparent developmental phases. This pattern suggests that these technologies were preserved knowledge rather than independent innovations. The Sumerian civilization exemplifies this pattern. Sumerians appeared in Mesopotamia around 4500 BCE with fully developed writing systems, astronomical knowledge, legal codes, and urban planning techniques. They claimed their knowledge came from the Anunnaki, beings who emerged from beneath the earth to teach humanity the arts of civilization. Similar accounts appear in Egyptian, Indian, and Chinese traditions. Underground civilizations would have possessed significant advantages over surface societies. Protection from climatic variations, cosmic radiation, and surface catastrophes would allow continuous technological development over thousands of years. Stable underground environments would enable the preservation of libraries, laboratories, and manufacturing facilities that surface civilizations lose during periods of social collapse. The theory suggests that these underground super-civilizations never completely withdrew from contact with surface humanity. Ancient accounts of gods, angels, and culture heroes often describe beings who possessed advanced knowledge and technologies, but who appeared and disappeared mysteriously. These beings may have been representatives of underground civilizations, periodically emerging to guide surface human development. Archaeological discoveries of ancient underground cities, sophisticated cave systems, and tunnel networks worldwide support the possibility that large underground populations existed in prehistoric times. The construction techniques and scale of these underground facilities often exceed the capabilities of their surface contemporaries, suggesting that underground civilizations possessed superior engineering knowledge. The super-civilization theory also explains anomalous artifacts found in geological contexts that predate conventional human civilization by millions of years. Metallic objects, precision-machined components, and complex devices discovered in coal seams and rock formations suggest that technological civilizations existed on Earth far earlier than mainstream science accepts. If underground super-civilizations survived the catastrophes that destroyed surface societies, they may continue to exist today, observing and occasionally influencing surface human development. Their technologies, developed over thousands of years in stable underground environments, would appear supernatural to surface civilizations that must constantly rebuild after wars and natural disasters. The implications are staggering. Humanity may not be alone on Earth, but may share the planet with civilizations far older and more advanced than any surface society. Our greatest discoveries may await not among distant stars, but in the depths beneath our feet. Deep within Earth's interior, beyond the reach of surface catastrophes and cosmic radiation, conditions would favor technological development along radically different paths than surface civilizations have pursued. Free from dependency on fossil fuels, solar energy, and surface-based resources, underground civilizations would harness Earth's own energy sources, developing technologies that appear almost magical to surface dwellers. Geothermal energy systems in underground civilizations would far exceed surface applications. Rather than simply tapping hot springs or steam vents, inner Earth technologies would harness the planet's core energy directly through crystalline matrices and electromagnetic field manipulation. These systems could provide unlimited clean energy without the environmental destruction that characterizes surface energy production. Crystalline technology represents the most likely foundation for underground civilization advancement. Deep within Earth, natural crystal formations occur under pressure and temperature conditions impossible to replicate on the surface. These crystals, formed over millions of years, could serve as natural energy storage and transmission systems, capable of powering entire cities through resonant frequency manipulation. Underground civilizations would have mastered the science of electromagnetic field control centuries ago. Earth's magnetic field, generated by core processes, would be accessible to technologies that understand how to tap into and redirect these natural forces. Magnetic field manipulation could provide propulsion systems for transportation, communication networks spanning continents, and even localized gravity modification. Transportation within underground realms would utilize principles unknown to surface science. Magnetic levitation systems using Earth's natural magnetic field lines could move vehicles at tremendous speeds through tunnel networks, without mechanical friction or energy consumption. These systems would operate silently and efficiently, capable of carrying passengers between distant underground cities in minutes rather than hours. Communication technologies would operate through crystalline network systems that transmit information via harmonic resonance through solid rock. These natural communication networks could span continents instantly, providing real-time coordination between underground settlements without the infrastructure limitations that plague surface communication systems. Atmospheric control systems in underground cities would maintain perfect environmental conditions through advanced understanding of gas dynamics and pressure regulation. Rather than relying on mechanical ventilation, these systems would use natural convection patterns and pressure differentials to circulate fresh air throughout vast chamber networks, maintaining optimal temperature and humidity without external energy input. Water management in underground civilizations would represent the pinnacle of hydraulic engineering. Natural underground water systems would be enhanced through precision-engineered channels, natural filtration systems, and pressure-driven distribution networks that provide pure water throughout underground settlements without pumps or mechanical systems. Agricultural systems would utilize hydroponics and mineral-based growing mediums that produce higher yields than surface agriculture while requiring no external fertilizers or pest control. Underground agricultural chambers would maintain optimal growing conditions year-round, producing food supplies that could sustain large populations indefinitely without dependence on surface weather patterns or seasonal limitations. Manufacturing technologies would focus on mineral extraction and processing using methods that work with natural geological processes rather than against them. Instead of strip mining and environmentally destructive extraction, underground technologies would selectively harvest minerals through biological and chemical processes that enhance rather than damage underground ecosystems. Medical technologies would be based on understanding of natural healing processes and energy field manipulation rather than chemical intervention. Underground civilizations would have discovered how to enhance the human body's natural healing capabilities through electromagnetic field therapy, mineral supplementation, and environmental optimization that promotes longevity and disease resistance. Computer and information processing systems would utilize crystalline matrices and biological components that operate at speeds and capacities far exceeding surface electronic technology. These organic computing systems would integrate seamlessly with their operators, providing direct mental interface with information networks and computational resources. Construction technologies would employ techniques that reshape stone and metal at the molecular level, allowing the creation of massive architectural projects without heavy machinery or external power sources. These techniques would enable the excavation of vast chambers and the construction of structural supports that could withstand earthquakes and geological shifts for thousands of years. Defense systems would utilize natural, electromagnetic phenomena and geological knowledge to create barriers that would be impenetrable to surface military technologies. Underground civilizations could manipulate local magnetic fields, seismic activity, and atmospheric pressure to defend their territories without revealing their locations to surface observers. Most significantly, underground technologies would be sustainable and regenerative rather than consumptive. By working with natural earth processes rather than against them, these civilizations would have achieved technological advancement without the environmental destruction that threatens surface civilizations. These technologies would appear miraculous to surface dwellers, yet they would represent the natural evolution of sciences developed over thousands of years in stable underground environments. The question is not whether such technologies are possible, but whether surface humanity is prepared to encounter civilizations that have achieved them. The possibility of hollow worlds extends far beyond Earth itself. reaching into the cosmic realm where planets throughout our solar system and beyond may harbor internal civilizations invisible to surface observation. As astronomical technology advances and reveals new details about planetary formation and structure, evidence accumulates suggesting that hollow planetary bodies may be the rule rather than the exception in cosmic evolution. Mars presents the most compelling case for a hollow planetary structure within our solar system. NASA's seismic data from Mars missions has revealed anomalous readings that suggest large internal voids within the red planet. The Mars Global Surveyor detected gravitational anomalies, indicating density variations that could only be explained by significant hollow spaces within the planetary interior. The mysterious seasonal changes observed on Mars cannot be adequately explained by atmospheric phenomena alone. Dark streaks that appear and disappear with Martian seasons suggest subsurface activity that could indicate internal atmospheric circulation between surface and interior environments. Some researchers propose that Mars may maintain habitable conditions within its hollow interior, despite the harsh surface environment. Ancient texts from Earth's civilizations contain references to Mars as a populated world, describing inhabitants who possessed advanced knowledge and technologies. Hindu astronomical texts refer to Mars as Mangal, the dwelling place of beings who occasionally visited Earth in flying vehicles. Babylonian astronomy records suggest that Mars displayed artificial lighting patterns visible from Earth during certain orbital alignments. Venus, despite its hostile surface conditions, may also harbor interior civilizations protected from the planet's extreme atmospheric pressure and temperature. Soviet Venera missions detected unusual electromagnetic phenomena that could suggest technological activity within the planet's interior. The planet's unusually slow rotation and retrograde spin may result from internal mass distributions characteristic of hollow planetary structure. Ancient astronomers described Venus as displaying variable brightness patterns that seem to indicate artificial illumination rather than simple atmospheric reflection. Mayan astronomical records contain references to Venus as the dwelling place of advanced beings who influenced human civilization development. These accounts describe vehicles emerging from Venus during specific celestial alignments. Jupiter's moon Europa has become the focus of intense scientific speculation due to evidence of vast liquid water oceans beneath its icy surface. However, recent analysis suggests that Europa's internal ocean may be far larger than previously suspected, potentially occupying most of the moon's interior volume. The moon's magnetic field variations indicate complex internal structure that could support large-scale civilization development. Saturn's moon Titan displays atmospheric phenomena that suggest internal energy sources beyond simple radioactive decay. The moon's thick atmosphere and stable weather patterns may be maintained by technological systems operating within Titan's interior. Unexplained electromagnetic emissions from Titan correspond to frequencies that could indicate artificial communication systems. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter contains numerous bodies that display characteristics suggesting hollow internal structure. Ceres, the largest asteroid, shows gravitational anomalies and surface features that indicate significant internal voids. Some researchers propose that certain asteroids may be artificial constructions or modified natural bodies serving as habitats for spacefaring civilizations. Recent discoveries of exoplanets in distant solar systems have revealed planetary bodies with characteristics that suggest hollow internal structure. Transit observations show density measurements indicating that many planets contain far less mass than their size would suggest, implying extensive internal void spaces. The prevalence of potentially hollow worlds throughout the cosmos supports ancient traditions describing contact between Earth and other planetary civilizations. If multiple worlds within our solar system harbor interior civilizations, then the isolation of surface humanity may be the exception rather than the rule in cosmic development. Advanced astronomical civilizations would naturally gravitate toward hollow, planetary habitats that provide protection from cosmic radiation, asteroid impacts, and stellar radiation variations. Interior planetary environments would remain stable for millions of years, while surface conditions fluctuate dramatically due to cosmic and climatic influences. The possibility of interplanetary contact between hollow world civilizations suggests that Earth's interior inhabitants may maintain communication and travel networks extending throughout the solar system. Ancient accounts of flying vehicles and celestial visitors may describe actual interplanetary transportation systems operating between hollow worlds. If Earth's interior civilizations possess advanced transportation technologies, they would likely have established contact with similar civilizations on other planets thousands of years ago. The consistency of ancient accounts describing visitors from other worlds suggests that such contact may have been routine in prehistoric times. The implications reach beyond our solar system to galactic scales. If hollow planetary structure represents an optimal configuration for advanced civilizations, then the galaxy may contain millions of populated worlds that appear uninhabited to surface observation. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence may require looking within planets rather than on their surfaces. The cosmic connection adds profound significance to Earth's potential hollow structure. Rather than representing an isolated curiosity, Earth's interior civilizations may be part of a vast network of hollow world civilizations spanning the galaxy, connected by technologies and knowledge that transcend individual planetary limitations. In the English village of Wilpit during the reign of King Stephen, sometime in the 12th century, local farmers working the harvest fields encountered two children, unlike any they had ever seen. The children's skin displayed a distinctly green hue that seemed to emanate from within, rather than resulting from surface staining or illness. They spoke no recognizable language, wore clothing made from unfamiliar materials, and displayed behavior suggesting they had never encountered surface world conditions. The children, a boy and girl who appeared to be siblings, were discovered near ancient cave entrances that local residents avoided due to legends of strange sounds and lights emanating from the underground passages. The children seemed disoriented by sunlight and refused to eat any food offered to them except raw beans, which they consumed with obvious familiarity and relish. Brother Ralph of Coggeshall, chronicler of the Abbey of Coggeshall, recorded the incident in detail. According to his account, the children were taken to the home of Sir Richard de Colin, where attempts were made to communicate with them and determine their origins. The boy, apparently younger and more fragile than the girl, gradually sickened and died within a few months of their discovery. The girl, however, slowly adapted to surface conditions. Her green skin coloration gradually faded to normal human appearance as she learned to eat conventional foods and adopted local customs. As she acquired the English language, she began to describe her origins in terms that challenged the understanding of everyone who heard her account. She claimed to come from a land where the sun never shone, where twilight conditions prevailed perpetually, and where all inhabitants displayed the same green skin coloration she had initially possessed. She described vast underground realms connected by tunnels and chambers, populated by peoples who had lived there for countless generations without knowledge of the surface world. According to her account, she and her brother had become lost while tending underground flocks in passages near their home. They had followed the sound of familiar bells, believing they were heading toward their village, but instead emerged into the blinding surface world where they were discovered by the farmers. She described her homeland as separated from the surface world by a great river or chasm, accessible only through specific tunnel systems that most of her people avoided. The underground realm was illuminated by sources she could not adequately describe in surface language, and supported agricultural systems that produced crops unknown to surface civilization. William of Newburgh, another contemporary chronicler, provided additional details about the girl's account. She spoke of underground cities with populations in the thousands, governed by councils of elders who possessed knowledge of both underground and surface worlds. She claimed that her people occasionally sent scouts to observe surface conditions, but maintained strict prohibitions against contact with surface dwellers. The girl, who eventually married and lived a normal life in Suffolk, continued to display unusual characteristics throughout her adult years. She demonstrated knowledge of herbal medicine and natural sciences that exceeded the education available to medieval women. Local residents noted that she could predict weather patterns and seasonal changes with uncanny accuracy. Most intriguingly, she maintained that her people had prophesied a time when the barriers between surface and underground worlds would weaken, allowing greater interaction between the civilizations. She claimed that other underground peoples would emerge during periods of great change in surface world conditions. Modern folklore researchers have attempted to explain the Green Children incident through various theories. Some suggest the children were Flemish immigrants suffering from malnutrition-induced skin discoloration. Others propose they were victims of arsenic poisoning from local mining operations. However, these explanations fail to account for the detailed consistency of the girl's testimony or the unusual circumstances of their discovery. Archaeological investigations near Woolpit have revealed extensive cave systems and underground chambers that extend far deeper than natural formation would suggest. Ground-penetrating radar surveys in the 1990s detected artificial structures and passages beneath the area where the children were allegedly discovered. Local legends preserved in Suffolk speak of other encounters with underground peoples throughout medieval and early modern periods. These accounts describe beings who emerged from cave systems during times of social upheaval or natural disaster, provided assistance to surface dwellers, and disappeared back into underground realms. The Green Children of Woolpit represent one of the most documented historical accounts of potential contact with underground civilizations. The incident was recorded by multiple contemporary sources, investigated by educated observers, and resulted in one witness living among surface society for decades, while maintaining consistent testimony about her underground origins. Whether the account represents literal truth, cultural memory of ancient migrations, or symbolic representation of deeper mysteries, it demonstrates that medieval populations possessed detailed knowledge of underground realms and considered contact with their inhabitants to be within the realm of historical possibility. Deep within Earth's cavern systems, where daylight never penetrates and silence holds dominion over centuries-old passages, explorers encounter phenomena that defy rational explanation. These underground realms, removed from the familiar rhythms of surface existence, become theaters for experiences that suggest the presence of intelligences unknown to surface science. Professional miners working in deep shaft operations have reported encounters that mining companies typically suppress to avoid worker panic and production delays. In South African gold mines extending over 2 miles beneath the surface, crew supervisors document incidents involving voices speaking in unknown languages, echoing through passages where no other workers are present. These voices often provide warnings about dangerous conditions that prove accurate when investigated. Cave rescue teams worldwide maintain unofficial records of anomalous encounters during underground emergency operations. Rescuers searching for lost spelunkers report discovering artificial lights in unmapped passages, sounds of machinery in areas where no equipment exists, and encounters with individuals who demonstrate intimate knowledge of cave systems but cannot be traced to any known exploration groups. The Mammoth Cave System in Kentucky generates numerous reports of paranormal activity from both professional guides and visitors. Tour guides describe areas where electromagnetic equipment malfunctions consistently, passages where temperature drops occur without apparent cause, and chambers where sensitive individuals report feeling observed by unseen presences. Professional spelunkers exploring virgin cave passages document phenomena that challenge conventional understanding of underground environments. These include discoveries of artificially modified cave features in areas never accessed by known human activity. Evidence of recent habitation in supposedly uninhabited cave systems, and encounters with cave formations that seem to emit their own illumination. The Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico harbor mysteries that Park Service officials acknowledge but cannot explain. Sensitive recording equipment placed in remote chambers detects sounds resembling human conversation and mechanical activity during hours when the caves are officially closed to all human access. Analysis of these recordings reveals acoustic patterns suggesting intelligence communication rather than natural cave sounds. Underground river systems provide settings for some of the most compelling paranormal encounters. Cave divers exploring flooded passages report seeing artificial lights moving through underwater tunnels, discovering manufactured objects in locations where human placement seems impossible, and encountering underwater structures that display evidence of construction rather than natural formation. The psychological effects of deep cave environments may contribute to paranormal encounters, yet the consistency of reports from experienced underground workers suggests phenomena beyond simple hallucination. Professional miners and cavers develop acute sensitivity to underground conditions that enables them to detect anomalies that casual observers might miss. Electromagnetic phenomena in cave systems often correlate with paranormal encounters. Caves displaying unusual magnetic properties, electromagnetic field variations, or natural electrical activity generate higher frequencies of anomalous reports. Some researchers suggest that natural electromagnetic phenomena might facilitate contact with intelligences that exist outside normal sensory perception ranges. Native American shamans have long utilized cave environments for spiritual practices that involve contact with underground spirits and beings. These traditions describe specific caves as portals to underground realms where contact with non-physical intelligences is possible through proper preparation and ritual procedures. Modern paranormal. Investigators using sophisticated detection equipment in cave environments document phenomena including temperature anomalies, electromagnetic field disturbances, infrasound vibrations, and photographic anomalies that suggest the presence of energies or entities not readily explainable through conventional science. The most compelling reports involve direct visual encounters with humanoid beings in deep cave systems. These encounters typically occur in remote passages far from tourist areas, involve beings who display advanced knowledge of cave systems, and result in communication that suggests intelligence and purpose rather than random supernatural manifestation. Professional geologists working in deep cave systems report discovering evidence of modification to natural cave features that suggests technological intervention. These modifications include precision-cut passages, artificial chamber modifications, and structural supports that exceed the engineering capabilities of known historical civilizations in the regions. Cave photography using infrared and full-spectrum imaging reveals anomalies invisible to normal vision. These images show energy patterns, structural features, and occasional humanoid forms that suggest the presence of entities or activities not detectable through conventional observation methods. The accumulation of paranormal encounters in cave systems worldwide suggests that underground environments may facilitate contact with intelligences that exist parallel to surface civilization. Whether these intelligences represent advanced underground civilizations, interdimensional entities, or natural phenomena beyond current scientific understanding, they appear to maintain consistent presence in Earth's deepest accessible realms. The possibility that paranormal encounters represent actual contact with underground civilizations adds profound significance to these experiences. Rather than supernatural phenomena, cave encounters may provide glimpses of hidden worlds that exist beneath the surface of our ordinary reality. The concept of hidden worlds within our planet has captured human imagination for centuries, inspiring countless works of literature, film, and artistic expression that have shaped popular understanding of Earth's mysterious interior. These cultural creations serve not merely as entertainment, but as vehicles for exploring humanity's deepest intuitions about the secrets lying beneath our feet. Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth, published in 1864, established the foundation for modern Hollow Earth fiction. Verne's meticulous scientific approach, incorporating genuine geological knowledge and mathematical calculations, presented underground exploration as scientifically plausible rather than mere fantasy. His detailed descriptions of underground ecosystems, prehistoric creatures, and vast subterranean oceans influenced generations of readers to consider the literal possibility of inner Earth civilizations. Edgar Rice Burroughs expanded Hollow Earth literature through his Pellucidar series, beginning with At the Earth's Core in 1914. Burroughs described a hollow Earth interior complete with its own sun, primitive civilizations, and exotic creatures. His adventure stories popularized the concept of accessing inner Earth through polar openings and established many conventions that continue to influence Hollow Earth fiction today. H.P. Lovecraft incorporated Hollow Earth concepts into his cosmic horror mythology, describing vast underground cities inhabited by ancient beings that predate human civilization. Lovecraft's approach suggested that Hollow Earth realms harbor intelligences so alien and advanced that human contact with them results in madness and revelation of humanity as insignificance in cosmic terms. The 1950s science fiction boom produced numerous Hollow Earth films and novels that reflected Cold War anxieties about hidden threats and secret civilizations. Movies like The Mole People and Journey to the Center of the Earth presented underground worlds as both wondrous and dangerous, reflecting contemporary fears about technological civilizations existing beyond human knowledge or control. Television series throughout the latter half of the 20th century regularly featured Hollow Earth episodes and storylines. The Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits, and later The X-Files explored themes of underground civilizations, government cover-ups of Hollow Earth discoveries, and contact between surface and interior peoples. These productions introduced Hollow Earth concepts to mainstream audiences and established them as legitimate subjects for serious speculative fiction. Modern video games have created immersive Hollow Earth environments that allow players to explore underground civilizations firsthand. Games like Minecraft, Terraria, and various role-playing games feature extensive underground realms, populated by unique creatures and civilizations. These interactive experiences enable millions of players to imaginatively explore the possibilities of life within Earth's interior. Documentary films and television programs have examined Hollow Earth theories with varying degrees of scientific rigor. The History Channel, Discovery Channel, and National Geographic have produced programs investigating historical Hollow Earth expeditions, analyzing geological evidence for internal spaces, and exploring connections between ancient myths and possible underground civilizations. Comic books and graphic novels have extensively developed Hollow Earth mythology, often incorporating elements from ancient legends, conspiracy theories, and scientific speculation. Marvel and DC Comics have featured underground civilizations in storylines spanning decades, establishing detailed fictional geographies of Earth's interior that influence popular understanding of Hollow Earth possibilities. Internet culture has dramatically expanded Hollow Earth discussions through forums, websites, and social media platforms where researchers share theories, evidence, and personal experiences related to underground civilizations. Online communities investigate government documents, analyze satellite imagery, and coordinate independent research into Hollow Earth phenomena. The persistent appeal of Hollow Earth themes in popular culture suggests that these concepts resonate with fundamental human intuitions about hidden knowledge and secret worlds. Rather than dismissing cultural interest as mere fantasy, some researchers propose that popular fascination with Hollow Earth reflects collective memory of actual underground civilizations or subconscious awareness of their continued existence. Academic analysis of Hollow Earth cultural production reveals consistent themes across different media and time periods. These include the portrayal of underground civilizations as more advanced than surface societies, the concept of entrance points at Earth's poles or in remote cave systems, and the idea that contact with inner Earth peoples would revolutionize human understanding of history and science. The influence of Hollow Earth culture extends beyond entertainment into actual exploration and research. Some modern expeditions to polar regions and deep cave systems have been partly inspired by fictional portrayals of Hollow Earth realms. Cultural representations provide frameworks for interpreting anomalous discoveries and experiences in underground environments. Critical examination of Hollow Earth cultural production reveals evolution in the concept's treatment over time. Early works emphasized adventure and discovery. Mid-20th century productions focused on technological and military implications, while contemporary treatments often explore environmental and spiritual themes related to sustainable underground civilizations. The global nature of Hollow Earth cultural interest, spanning multiple languages, cultures, and media formats, suggests that the concept addresses universal human concerns about hidden knowledge, alternative civilizations, and the mysteries of our planetary home. Popular culture serves as both reflection and catalyst for continued scientific and exploratory interest in Earth as interior possibilities. Earth as magnetic field behaves in ways that continue to baffle scientists and suggest complexities within our planet's interior that standard geological models cannot adequately explain. These magnetic anomalies, detected by sophisticated instruments aboard satellites and research stations worldwide, may provide crucial evidence for the existence of vast hollow spaces and potentially advanced civilizations within Earth's depths. The World Magnetic Model, updated every 5 years by international cooperation between scientific institutions, reveals magnetic field variations so dramatic that navigation systems require constant recalibration. Magnetic north moves erratically across the Arctic, sometimes shifting hundreds of miles within decades. These movements suggest that Earth's internal magnetic sources are far more complex and dynamic than simple core circulation models predict. Satellite magnetometry data reveals magnetic field signatures that appear artificial rather than naturally occurring. The European Space Agency's SWARM mission has detected geometric patterns in Earth's magnetic field that display characteristics resembling technological rather than geological phenomena. Some regions show magnetic field alignments that form precise geometric shapes, suggesting the presence of structured electromagnetic sources within Earth's interior. The South Atlantic anomaly represents one of the most puzzling magnetic phenomena detected by modern science. In this region, Earth's magnetic field strength drops to roughly half its normal intensity, creating a zone where spacecraft electronics malfunction and astronauts receive increased radiation exposure. The anomaly's precise boundaries and its gradual westward drift suggest an artificial rather than natural origin. Deep ocean magnetic surveys reveal vast underwater regions where magnetic field strength exceeds normal levels by factors of 10 or more. These magnetic mountains display no correlation with known geological features and seem to originate from sources deep within Earth's interior. Some researchers suggest these anomalies indicate the presence of massive metallic structures or technological installations beneath the ocean floor. Archaeological sites worldwide often coincide with locations of significant magnetic field anomalies. Ancient megalithic structures, including Stonehenge, the pyramids, and Easter Island statues, were constructed at locations where Earth's magnetic field displays unusual characteristics. This correlation suggests that ancient civilizations possessed knowledge of Earth's magnetic properties that modern science is only beginning to understand. Underground facilities known to exist, such as military installations and research centers, often display magnetic signatures detectable by sensitive instruments. If large-scale underground civilizations exist within Earth's interior, their technological activities would likely generate magnetic field disturbances far exceeding those produced by known human installations. The phenomenon of magnetic pole reversals provides additional evidence of Earth's internal complexity. Geological records show that magnetic poles have reversed hundreds of times throughout Earth's history, sometimes rapidly and sometimes gradually. The irregular timing and unpredictable nature of these reversals suggests that Earth's internal magnetic system involves multiple sources and complex interactions that simple dynamo theory cannot explain. Recent discoveries of magnetic field storms that originate from within Earth rather than from space indicate internal electromagnetic activity beyond conventional understanding. These internal magnetic disturbances occur independently of solar activity and seem to follow patterns that suggest systematic rather than random origins. Ground-penetrating radar surveys conducted near areas of magnetic anomalies often detect large void spaces and artificial structures that conventional geology cannot explain. The correlation between magnetic disturbances and evidence of hollow spaces suggests that electromagnetic phenomena may be associated with underground civilizations that utilize magnetic field manipulation for technological purposes. Aircraft and shipping navigation systems report magnetic compass variations in specific geographical regions that remain consistent over decades. These magnetic highways seem to provide navigation assistance that exceeds natural magnetic field guidance, suggesting the possibility that underground civilizations maintain technological systems that assist surface transportation. Military detection systems designed to locate underground installations often encounter electromagnetic signatures that exceed the capabilities of known surface technologies. These signatures suggest the presence of large-scale electromagnetic systems operating within Earth's interior, systems that would require advanced technological civilizations to construct and maintain. The correlation between magnetic anomalies and unexplained aerial phenomena has attracted attention from researchers investigating both hollow Earth theories and UFO phenomena. Many areas of significant magnetic disturbance coincide with regions of frequent unexplained aircraft sightings, suggesting possible connections between underground electromagnetic installations and aerial vehicle technologies. Scientific analysis of magnetic field data using artificial intelligence and pattern recognition systems has revealed systematic structures within Earth's magnetic field that appear too organized to result from random geological processes. These patterns suggest the presence of technological installations or natural phenomena operating according to principles beyond current scientific understanding. The possibility that advanced underground civilizations utilize electromagnetic technologies for power generation, transportation, and communication would explain many observed magnetic anomalies. Such civilizations would necessarily develop sophisticated electromagnetic capabilities to survive and thrive in underground environments where conventional energy sources are unavailable. As magnetic field monitoring becomes more precise and comprehensive, the evidence for complex internal electromagnetic systems within Earth grows stronger. Whether these systems result from natural phenomena, technological installations, or combinations of both, they suggest that Earth's interior harbors secrets that could revolutionize human understanding of our planet and our place within it. In the dense rainforests of northern Brazil, where the Amazon basin meets the Venezuelan highlands, the Macaxi people have preserved oral traditions that speak of a time when their ancestors walked freely between the surface world and vast realms that existed deep within the earth. These are not distant myths or symbolic stories, but detailed historical accounts passed down through generations of tribal shamans and elders. According to Macaxi tradition, their ancestors regularly traveled to underground cities through tunnel entrances hidden in the tepi, the massive table mountains that rise like ancient fortresses from the jungle floor. These journeys were not spiritual quests or ceremonial visions, but practical expeditions to trade with underground peoples who possess knowledge and technologies unknown to surface civilizations. The most detailed account comes from tribal elder Joachim, who in 1945 provided testimony to visiting anthropologists about his grandfather's journeys into the underworld. According to Joachim, his grandfather spent several years living among underground peoples in vast cities illuminated by artificial suns that never dimmed or failed. The underground realms, as described in Makuxi tradition, housed populations of giants beings standing 8 to 12 feet tall who possessed pale skin and advanced technological capabilities. These giants maintained cities with populations in the hundreds of thousands, connected by transportation systems that moved silently through tunnel networks spanning thousands of miles. Joachim's account described underground agricultural systems that produced crops unknown to surface agriculture, yielding harvests that could feed vast populations without the seasonal limitations or weather dependencies that affected surface farming. The giants allegedly shared seeds and growing techniques with selected Makuxi families, enabling them to produce exceptional harvests during periods of surface food scarcity. The underground cities were allegedly powered by energy systems that harnessed Earth's internal heat and electromagnetic properties. These systems provided consistent power for manufacturing, transportation, and environmental control without the smoke, noise, or pollution associated with surface technologies. Most significantly, the Makuxi accounts describe the giants as possessing flying vehicles capable of traveling between underground cities and occasionally emerging to surface locations. These vehicles moved silently and could hover motionless or accelerate to tremendous speeds without visible propulsion mechanisms. The Makuxi maintained detailed geographical knowledge of tunnel entrances and underground route systems. Tribal maps, preserved through oral tradition and rock art, identified specific mountains and cave systems that provided access to underground realms. These maps included travel times, rest stations, and landmarks that enabled safe navigation through underground territories. According to tribal accounts, contact between surface and underground peoples declined dramatically during the colonial period. The giants allegedly became increasingly reluctant to interact with surface dwellers as European explorers and missionaries penetrated deeper into Amazon territories. However, the Makuxi maintained that some contact continued through selected tribal members who served as intermediaries between surface and underground civilizations. The 1945 testimony provided specific details about underground city layouts, population centers, and technological capabilities that seemed impossible for isolated Amazon tribes to imagine without actual experience. Joachim described transportation systems, energy production methods, and architectural features with precision that suggested direct observation rather than mythological creation. Geological surveys of the Tepui Mountains in the 20th century discovered extensive cave systems and underground chambers that corresponded to geographical descriptions preserved in Makuxi oral traditions. Some chambers showed evidence of artificial modification and construction techniques that exceeded known capabilities of indigenous Amazon civilizations. The Venezuelan government classified much of the Tepui region as restricted military territory during the 1940s, officially for mineral exploration and border security purposes. However, some researchers suggest that these restrictions were implemented to prevent public discovery of underground installations or evidence supporting Makuxi accounts of subterranean civilizations. Contemporary Makuxi communities continue to maintain knowledge of underground entrance locations, though tribal elders report that many traditional access points have been sealed or become inaccessible due to geological changes or deliberate blocking by unknown parties. The consistency of Makuxi accounts across multiple generations and their correlation with geographical features that have been verified by modern exploration suggests that these traditions preserve genuine historical memories rather than purely mythological narratives. Modern anthropologists studying Makuxi culture Note that their underground traditions differ significantly from typical indigenous mythology in their emphasis on practical details, geographical precision, and technological descriptions that seem to exceed the cultural context of traditional Amazon societies. The 1945 testimony represents one of the most detailed modern accounts of claimed contact with underground civilizations, preserved by a culture with strong oral tradition practices and verified through multiple independent sources within the tribal community. Whether these accounts describe literal historical events, cultural memories of ancient migrations, or symbolic representations of deeper spiritual truths, they demonstrate that contemporary indigenous peoples maintain detailed knowledge of underground realms and consider contact with their inhabitants to be within the realm of historical possibility. The technological challenges of reaching Earth's hypothetical interior civilizations exceed those faced by space exploration, yet the distances involved are far shorter than journeys to other planets. While humans have successfully traveled to the moon and maintained permanent presence in Earth orbit, our deepest penetration into Earth's crust represents less than 1% of the distance to the planet's center. The Kola Superdeep Borehole Project, conducted by the Soviet Union from 1970 to 1994, achieved humanity's deepest artificial penetration into Earth's crust at 12,262 meters, roughly 7.6 miles beneath the surface. The project encountered unexpected obstacles, including temperatures exceeding 180 degrees, far higher than the predicted 100 degrees, and rock formations that behaved like plastic under extreme pressure and temperature. At these depths, conventional drilling equipment failed repeatedly due to conditions beyond engineering specifications. Steel drill bits became flexible, drilling mud turned into steam, and electronic equipment ceased functioning. The project demonstrated that reaching Earth's interior using surface-based drilling technology faces fundamental physical limitations that may be insurmountable with current engineering approaches. Alternative approaches to accessing Earth's interior might utilize natural cave systems and underground river networks that provide ready-made pathways into the depths. Systematic exploration of the world's deepest cave systems could potentially locate natural passages that descend far deeper than current mapping has revealed. The Krubera Cave in Georgia, currently mapped to depths exceeding 7,200 feet, continues to reveal new passages and chambers with each exploration expedition. Advanced cave diving techniques and support technologies could potentially enable human exploration of underwater cave systems that may provide access to much deeper underground regions. Technological development specifically designed for underground exploration could overcome many limitations that prevent deep Earth access using conventional methods. Self-contained atmospheric systems, advanced communication networks, and specialized transportation vehicles could enable sustained human presence in deep underground environments. Magnetic field navigation systems could potentially guide underground exploration by following Earth's internal magnetic field lines toward their sources within the planet's interior. If underground civilizations utilize electromagnetic technologies, their installations might be locatable through systematic magnetic field mapping and analysis. Underground nuclear propulsion systems could theoretically provide the energy necessary for deep Earth drilling or transportation through existing underground networks. Nuclear-powered boring machines could potentially excavate passages through solid rock while providing their own energy sources and environmental control systems. Robotic exploration systems could serve as advanced scouts for human underground exploration, mapping deep passages and identifying safe routes while transmitting real-time data to surface control centers. Advanced robotics could potentially make contact with underground civilizations and establish communication before human explorers attempt direct access. The discovery of natural underground entrances, as suggested by ancient accounts and modern anomalous reports, could provide immediate access to inner Earth realms without requiring technological breakthroughs. Systematic investigation of geographical locations identified in historical sources might reveal accessible pathways to underground civilizations. International cooperation on underground exploration projects could pool resources and expertise necessary for successful deep Earth access missions. Such cooperation would also provide political frameworks for contact protocols if underground civilizations are encountered during exploration attempts. If underground civilizations possess advanced transportation technologies, they might be capable of providing assistance to surface exploration efforts. Ancient accounts suggest that underground peoples have occasionally facilitated surface dweller access to their realms, implying that cooperative contact may be possible under appropriate circumstances. The development of closed-loop life support systems perfected for space exploration could be adapted for extended underground expeditions. These systems would enable exploration teams to remain underground for months or years while maintaining safe environmental conditions and communication with surface support teams. Advanced materials science could produce equipment capable of withstanding the extreme conditions encountered during deep Earth exploration. New alloys, ceramics, and composite materials might enable construction of vehicles and protective equipment suitable for deep underground environments. The most promising approach may involve following up on anomalous discoveries already made during conventional underground activities. Mining operations, cave explorations, and geological surveys that have encountered unexplained phenomena could provide starting points for systematic investigation of underground anomalies. Rather than attempting to drill directly to Earth's center, exploration efforts might focus on accessing intermediate depths where underground civilizations could theoretically exist while remaining within reach of surface-based support systems. Underground realms at depths of several miles could harbor advanced civilizations while remaining accessible to determined exploration efforts. The question may not be whether we can reach inner Earth realms, but whether we are prepared for what we might discover there. Contact with underground civilizations would raise profound questions about human history, planetary resources, and humanity's place in Earth's larger community of intelligent life. Throughout Earth's turbulent climatic history, surface conditions have repeatedly become so hostile that survival required retreating to sheltered environments protected from atmospheric chaos. Underground realms provide the ultimate climate refuge, offering stable temperatures, breathable atmosphere, and protection from the cosmic and geological catastrophes that periodically devastate surface civilizations. Ice Age cycles that have gripped Earth for the past 2 million years create surface conditions so severe that advanced civilizations could not survive without technological solutions or alternative habitats. During glacial maxima, ice sheets miles thick covered vast continents. Sea levels dropped by hundreds of feet, and global temperatures plunged to levels that would eliminate most surface agriculture and make large-scale civilization impossible. The Younger Dryas event, occurring roughly 12,800 years ago, demonstrates how rapidly Earth's climate can shift from habitable to catastrophic. Global temperatures dropped by as much as 15 degrees Celsius within decades, plunging the planet back into Ice Age conditions, just as surface civilizations were developing agriculture and permanent settlements. Such rapid changes would force any advanced civilization to seek refuge in stable underground environments. The geological evidence reveals that Earth experiences major extinction events roughly every 26 million years, coinciding with the solar system's passage through galactic plane regions where cosmic radiation and asteroid impacts increase dramatically. These cyclical catastrophes eliminate most surface life forms, but would have minimal impact on civilizations, protected by miles of solid rock. Volcanic supervolcano eruptions, such as the Toba eruption 74,000 years ago, create nuclear winter conditions that can last for decades. The Toba event reduced global human population to perhaps as few as 10,000 individuals and eliminated most large animal species across entire continents. Underground civilizations would be completely protected from such atmospheric catastrophes. Ancient flood myths preserved by cultures worldwide describe catastrophic deluges that destroyed surface civilizations, while underground dwellers survived in subterranean refuges. These accounts may preserve actual memories of rapid sea level changes during Ice Age transitions, when melting glaciers raised ocean levels by hundreds of feet within centuries. The stability of underground environments provides ideal conditions for preserving advanced technologies and knowledge libraries through surface catastrophes. While surface civilizations must constantly rebuild after wars, climate changes, and natural disasters, underground civilizations could maintain continuous technological development for thousands of years. Underground agricultural systems would be completely independent of surface climate variations, seasonal changes, and cosmic radiation that affects surface crop production. Controlled environment agriculture in underground chambers could produce consistent harvests regardless of surface conditions, supporting large populations during extended periods when surface agriculture becomes impossible. Geothermal energy sources available in underground environments provide consistent power that remains unaffected by surface climate conditions or resource depletion. Underground civilizations could develop sustainable energy systems that operate efficiently for thousands of years without environmental destruction or fuel scarcity. The psychological advantages of underground refuge during climate catastrophes cannot be underestimated. Surface populations facing climate collapse experience mass migration, resource wars, and social breakdown that prevent coordinated response to environmental challenges. Underground populations would maintain social stability and technological capability throughout surface crisis periods. Ancient accounts of culture heroes and gods who emerge from underground realms to assist surface humanity during times of crisis may preserve memories of actual assistance provided by underground civilizations during climate catastrophes. These beings allegedly taught surface dwellers advanced agricultural techniques, astronomical knowledge, and survival skills necessary for rebuilding civilization after environmental collapse. Modern climate change scenarios, including global warming, ocean acidification, and atmospheric composition changes, create surface conditions that could eventually require underground refuge for long-term human survival. Underground civilizations that have already developed sustainable technologies could provide crucial knowledge for surface humanity's adaptation to changing environmental conditions. The correlation between climate catastrophes and the emergence of advanced technologies in surface civilizations suggests possible assistance from underground sources. Major technological breakthroughs often appear simultaneously across multiple surface cultures following climate disasters, implying knowledge transfer from sources that maintain technological capability through the crisis periods. Archaeological evidence of sophisticated underground construction during periods of surface climate stress supports theories of underground climate refuge. Many of the world's most impressive underground cities and tunnel systems were constructed during periods when surface conditions were particularly challenging due to warfare, climate change, or social upheaval. The distribution of underground construction worldwide corresponds to regions that experienced severe climate stresses during Ice Age cycles and other environmental challenges. Areas with extensive cave systems, underground cities, and tunnel networks often coincide with locations where surface populations would have faced the most severe survival challenges. Contemporary research into underground habitats for space colonization and climate change adaptation builds upon principles that underground civilizations would have perfected thousands of years ago. Modern closed-loop life support systems, sustainable agriculture, and renewable energy technologies represent rediscovery of capabilities that underground civilizations would have developed through necessity. The possibility that underground civilizations maintain detailed records of Earth's climate cycles and develop technologies specifically designed for climate catastrophe survival suggests they could provide invaluable guidance for surface humanity's response to current environmental challenges. Underground refuge represents not merely survival strategy, but optimal conditions for maintaining advanced civilization through the climate catastrophes that regularly reset surface human development. The stability and protection of underground environments may explain how truly advanced civilizations could develop and persist on Earth. If advanced civilizations have thrived within Earth's interior for thousands of years, they would possess technologies and perspectives that would make surface humanity appear primitive and chaotic by comparison. From their stable underground vantage point, these civilizations would observe surface humanity's endless cycles of technological development, warfare, environmental destruction, and social collapse with a mixture of concern and detached scientific interest. The development of atomic weapons in the 1940s would have represented a crucial turning point for underground observers of surface civilization. Nuclear technology poses threats that transcend surface boundaries, potentially affecting underground environments through radioactive contamination, atmospheric changes, and seismic disturbances from weapons testing. Underground civilizations would have compelling reasons to monitor and potentially intervene in surface nuclear activities. Unexplained aerial phenomena, commonly known as UFOs, may represent surveillance and intervention activities conducted by underground civilizations rather than extraterrestrial visitors. The characteristics commonly reported for these objects, silent propulsion, impossible maneuverability, and electromagnetic effects, correspond to technologies that underground civilizations would logically develop for atmospheric exploration and surface monitoring. The tendency for unusual aerial phenomena to appear near nuclear facilities, military installations, and areas of environmental destruction suggests systematic monitoring by intelligences concerned about surface activities that could affect planetary stability. Underground civilizations would possess both the motivation and technological capability to conduct such surveillance operations. Reports of underground bases and tunnel systems near areas of frequent UFO activity support theories that these phenomena originate from Earth's interior rather than outer space. Witnesses describe objects emerging from or disappearing into mountainous terrain, ocean areas, and remote locations that could provide access points to underground realms. The consistent reports throughout history of advanced beings providing technological and cultural guidance to surface civilizations may document actual interventions by underground peoples during critical periods of surface development. These interventions typically occur during times of crisis when surface civilizations face collapse or extinction threats. Ancient accounts describe culture heroes and divine teachers who possessed advanced knowledge but who appeared and disappeared mysteriously, often returning to underground or mountain retreats. These beings typically provided agricultural techniques, astronomical knowledge, metallurgy, and social organization principles that enabled surface civilizations to advance beyond their previous capabilities. The selective nature of technological revelations to surface humanity suggests careful management by intelligences who understand the dangers of providing advanced technologies to societies that lack corresponding wisdom and ethical development. Underground civilizations would have witnessed multiple surface civilizations destroy themselves through misuse of powerful technologies. Contemporary environmental monitoring systems worldwide detect electromagnetic anomalies, atmospheric disturbances, and seismic activities that could indicate large-scale underground technological operations. If underground civilizations are actively monitoring surface conditions, their activities would necessarily produce detectable signatures that conventional science might misinterpret as natural phenomena. The correlation between areas of environmental destruction and reports of unusual phenomena suggests that underground civilizations may be actively studying and possibly attempting to mitigate damage caused by surface industrial activities. Areas affected by mining, deforestation, nuclear testing, and pollution show higher frequencies of anomalous reports than environmentally stable regions. Government classification of information related to unusual phenomena, underground installations, and polar exploration may result from official awareness of underground civilizations and establishment of secret contact protocols. The extreme secrecy surrounding these topics suggests that surface governments possess information too sensitive for public disclosure. The possibility that underground civilizations have established formal diplomatic relations with surface governments would explain many anomalous aspects of contemporary geopolitics, including restrictions on Antarctic exploration, classification of geological surveys, and international cooperation on projects that seem to exceed their stated purposes. If underground civilizations possess advanced medical and longevity technologies, their representatives could maintain surface contacts for extended periods while appearing to age normally. Such individuals could serve as long-term observers and advisors, influencing surface political and technological development while maintaining their underground allegiances. The systematic nature of environmental changes currently affecting Earth's surface climate disruption, species extinctions, pollution, and resource depletion may prompt underground civilizations to increase their intervention activities. Surface humanity's current trajectory toward environmental collapse would threaten the planetary stability that underground civilizations depend upon for their continued existence. Contact protocols established by underground civilizations would likely require surface humanity to demonstrate wisdom and maturity before full disclosure becomes possible. Current surface behaviors, warfare, environmental destruction, and social inequality may indicate that surface civilization has not yet achieved the ethical development necessary for open contact with advanced underground societies. The timing and nature of future contact between surface and underground civilizations may depend upon surface humanity's response to current environmental and social challenges. Crisis periods often correlate with increased intervention activities, suggesting that underground civilizations reveal themselves when surface assistance is most needed and most likely to be received constructively. The greatest discovery in human history may await not among distant stars, but in the depths beneath our feet, where civilizations far older and wiser than our own may be preparing to reveal themselves when surface humanity demonstrates readiness to join Earth as larger community of intelligent life. As our journey through Earth's hidden possibilities draws to a close, we find ourselves standing at the threshold of mysteries that may forever change humanity's understanding of home, history, and our place in the cosmos. The evidence we have explored, from ancient myths to modern scientific anomalies, from historical accounts to contemporary encounters, weaves together into a tapestry of possibility that challenges every assumption about the world beneath our feet. The whisper that called to us from the beginning has grown stronger with each revelation. It speaks through the mathematical calculations of Enlightenment scientists, through the detailed accounts of polar explorers, through the oral traditions of indigenous peoples who remember when the Earth opened its doors to those who knew the ancient pathways. It echoes in the electromagnetic anomalies detected by modern instruments and in the vast cave systems that honeycomb our planet, with passages leading into darkness deeper than sunlight has ever penetrated. Perhaps most profoundly, this exploration reveals that the separation between surface and interior, between known and unknown, between possible and impossible, may be far less definitive than we have been taught to believe. The boundary between our everyday reality and the extraordinary possibilities that lie beneath it grows thinner with each piece of evidence, each correlation, each moment when the conventional explanations prove insufficient to contain the mystery. Consider what we have discovered together. We have seen how respected scientists once calculated the mathematical probability of hollow spaces within our planet. We have examined reports from military expeditions that discovered lands beyond the ice where no land should exist. We have heard the voices of tribal elders, preserving memories of ancestors who walked freely between surface and underground realms. We have documented the technological achievements of ancient civilizations that constructed vast underground cities capable of housing thousands of people in comfort and safety. The convergence of these diverse threads of evidence suggests something far more significant than coincidence or wishful thinking. When ancient myths align with modern satellite data, when historical accounts correspond to contemporary anomalous encounters, when indigenous traditions describe geographical features that explorers later discover, we may be witnessing the preservation of actual knowledge about Earth's hidden nature rather than the persistent power of human imagination. The implications extend far beyond academic curiosity or entertainment value. If Earth harbors civilizations that have achieved sustainable technologies, peaceful social organization, and harmony with natural systems, then the greatest repository of wisdom for addressing surface humanity's current challenges may lie not in future innovation, but in ancient knowledge preserved in the depths below. The possibility that we share our planet with intelligences far older and more advanced than surface civilization carries both wonder and responsibility. If underground civilizations have observed surface humanity's development through cycles of progress and destruction, they possess perspectives that could guide us through the critical transitions we face today. Yet the evidence also suggests that contact with these hidden realms may depend upon surface humanity as demonstration of wisdom, maturity, and respect for planetary systems that sustain all life. The apparent selectivity of historical contacts and the careful management of technological revelations imply that underground civilizations reveal themselves only when surface populations are prepared to receive such knowledge constructively. As we stand at this moment in human history, facing environmental challenges that threaten the stability of surface civilization, the possibility of guidance from civilizations that have successfully navigated similar challenges becomes not merely intriguing, but potentially essential for our continued survival and development. The journey we have taken together reveals that the greatest adventure in human experience may require not rockets or telescopes, but the courage to descend into the darkness below and discover what has been waiting there for us to become ready. The pathways exist, preserved in ancient accounts and modern discoveries. The evidence accumulates with each new revelation about Earth's hidden complexity. The whisper from the depths continues, patient and eternal, calling to those who remember that the greatest mysteries often lie not in distant galaxies, but in the familiar ground beneath our feet. It reminds us that home itself may be far stranger, more wonderful, and more populated than we have dared to imagine. In the end, we are left not with answers, but with questions that transform our understanding of what it means to live on this planet. What secrets lie in the unexplored depths? What wisdom waits in the halls of civilizations that chose the stability of Earth's interior over the chaos of its surface? What possibilities for human development await discovery in realms where technologies and social systems have evolved for thousands of years without the interruptions that regularly reset surface progress? The greatest discovery in human history may be waiting not in space, but in the depths of our own planetary home, where civilizations that remember the ancient wisdom continue their patient existence, perhaps preparing for the day when surface humanity achieves the wisdom necessary to rejoin Earth's larger community of conscious life. The echoes from the deep continue to call, carrying promises of knowledge, technology, and perspectives that could revolutionize human civilization. Whether we possess the courage and wisdom to answer that call may determine not only our future, but our very survival on the planet that has always held more secrets than we imagined possible. Until that moment of revelation arrives, we remain guardians of the mystery, carriers of the questions that may someday unlock the doors between worlds. The journey into Earth's hidden heart awaits those brave enough to follow the ancient pathways downward into the darkness that may hold humanity's greatest light. If you found yourself drawn into this exploration of possibilities that stretch beyond the boundaries of conventional understanding, perhaps the whisper from the depths has found resonance within your own intuition about the mysteries that surround us. The search for truth often requires ventures into territories that maps cannot chart and textbooks cannot contain.